Chapter 2132. Foe beasts were creatures unique to the foe god world, born from the primal chaos and nothingness. They took many forms and possessed horrifying strength. Even foe god experts would have to avoid a few strong foe beasts. In the entire foe god world, aside from the holy domain's divine capital, there were many shattered continents with all sorts of foe beasts. Foe beasts were not truly lifeforms. They could not survive outside of the foe god world. After they died, they would return to the depths of the foe god world and revive after a long time. Xiao Chun did not know much about foe beasts. However, Qiong Ying, Yunfei, and Nangong Feng had gone out several times to hunt them. Xiao Chun took out the Heavenly Alliance medallion and communicated with them. The three remained in the Holy Domain's divine capital and did not go out. So, they agreed to meet at Xiao Chen's courtyard 1 hour later. Xiao Chen, haha. You finally can't sit still anymore and want to go out? The three arrived on time. When they heard Xiao Chen ask about foe beasts, they laughed softly. The four were all Heavenly Alliance people. Furthermore, they came to the foe god world together, so they had a good relationship with each other. Over the past year or so, the three had come to visit Xiao Chen several times. They found it strange. Why did Xiao Chen fall silent after breaking the record for the first 2 floors? Why did everyone forget his name in the past year or so? On the other hand, Wu Meng, Mou, and Gongzi Lan's strength soared, continuously climbing in the trial tower. Among them, Wu Meng had broken the record for the 18th floor. Back when Xiao Chen broke the record, many people said that he did not clear the 3rd floor due to some trickery. Now, Xiao Chen's silence verified the others' words. However, Nangong Feng and the other 2 knew Xiao Chen very well. Over the past year or so, Xiao Chen's strength was no longer something the three could handle. Even when the three worked together, Xiao Chen would find it somewhat difficult to deal with. However, Xiao Chen did not come out. He was either in closed-door cultivation or cultivating, ignoring the fights between the super factions. His cultivation has already reached a bottleneck. If he does not experience some battles, he will find it hard to break through, Xiao Chen said softly. Yunfei said, in the past year or so, the 3 of us went out to hunt foe beasts. Even if foe beasts are of the same cultivation realm, they cannot be underestimated. Many disciples of the various super factions have died at the hands of foe beasts. I'll die. When Xiao Chen heard that, he felt slightly shocked. The disciples of the various super factions, those who could enter the Heavenly Alliance, were all talented. They all had life-saving secret treasures. It was just like how the Heavenly Alliance prepared a set of alloy battle armor for everyone at all costs. The other super factions, such as the Disciples of the Universe Origin sect, all had a Heavenly Flame medallion that could summon the Universe Origin Divine Flame at any time. They had similar trump cards. However, he still died at the hands of a foe beast. This was truly shocking. Nangong Feng said, as long as they do not go too far out of the city, their lifespans are usually fine. The foe god experts in the divine capital have already detected the strong foe beast. Why don't I accompany you out of the city? It's good to look after each other. Qiong Ying suggested. After foe beasts die, they leave behind primeval divine liquid. There are many benefits to absorbing it, which is very helpful to cultivation. Primeval divine liquid was also one of Xiao Chen's objectives in killing foe beasts. Foe beasts were born from nothingness. After they died, they would leave behind a clump of mysterious energy known as primeval divine liquid. The density of primeval divine liquid varied according to the strength and rank of a foe god. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, there's no need. If there is no danger, it would go against my original intentions. Thank you for your kind intentions. Tell me what I need to pay attention to when I encounter foe beasts and where I need to go to hunt them. All right. 4 hours later, after Xiao Chen made his preparations, he left the city. In the foe god world, aside from the Holy Domain, which was a complete continent, the other places were all shattered continents. The larger ones might be as far as the holy domain, and the smaller ones might be less than a city. The distance between them varied as they drifted in the cloud sea. Aside from the absolute safety of the holy domain's divine capital, the other places in the faux god world had many different environments, making it hard to guarantee safety. At the mountain-like city gates, Xiao Chen turned his head back to look. The two words, divine capital, on the city walls still inspired awe in people, not daring to look at them for too long. As Xiao Chen stood at the periphery of the holy domain and looked forward, the entire world was gray, without much color. This place looked very primitive. Even the air felt ancient. This was the first time Xiao Chen left the city after coming to the holy domain's divine capital for more than a year. Once again, he felt the shock brought about by this shattered world. Wind, fire, lightning, and many other chaos mixed with the air. It was like the primal chaos had yet to develop, pure and complicated, filled with contradictions. As Xiao Chen breathed, he could feel all sorts of chaos at any time. It was very mystical. A primal chaos fog sea lay in front, hazy and mysterious, filled with the unknown. As this place was not too dangerous from the holy domain, Xiao Chen occasionally saw figures moving about. Xiao Chen opened a map of the faux god world and took a look. Then, he put away the map and activated the alloy battle armor. Immediately, Xiao Chen looked very heroic. He wore the silver alloy battle armor, showing off his tyrannical aura. As his long hair fluttered, he gave off a sharp light. Then, he placed the tyrant's saber on his back and soared into the air. Now that he was fully equipped, he could bring out his strongest strength at any time. Xiao Chen did this because many super-faction disciples died, because they could not bring out their trump cards before they died. Maintaining the alloy battle armor drained a lot of origin liquid. However, origin liquid could be replenished at any time. Compared to his life, this bit of expenditure was nothing. Whoosh! The moment Xiao Chen left the holy domain, he immediately felt astral winds blowing at him. These winds contained chaotic chaos. There were flames, ice, and all sorts of strange forces, making it somewhat difficult to block. Fortunately, Xiao Chen had the alloy battle armor to protect him. The alloy battle armor, combat boots, shoulder guards, arm guards, leg guards, and other parts seemed to be one. They gave off a silver light and formed a formless barrier that blocked the astral winds. Indeed, the holy domain was protected by divine energy. After leaving the holy domain, the wild side of the faux god world was revealed. Xiao Chen thought to himself as he carefully flew towards his destination. The place he wanted to go was called the Ice-Fire Wasteland. It was about 1/10 the size of the holy domain. It was considered a rather large continent. However, the environment was harsh and faux beasts roamed about. It was a good place for experiential training. Most of the members of the various super-factions came here for experiential training, hunting faux beasts. The Ice-Fire Wasteland was not too far from the holy domain, but it was not too close either. Only sovereign emperor-level faux beasts gathered there. If one ventured deep, one would end up in the depths of the faux god world. The danger there would be indescribable. Boom! Without any warning, a ferocious beast's claw suddenly appeared in the fog sea below, clawing at Xiao Chen. Just this beast claw was as large as a small mountain. When it clawed, it completely obscured Xiao Chen's vision. Divine Firmament 9 Variations, Traceless Lightning Shadow. Whoosh! Only a faint purple lightning mark remained where Xiao Chen had been. Then, he vanished like he teleported and reappeared at the side. Xiao Chen grasped the tyrant's saber on his back with his right hand and instantly drew it. Then, he sent out a purple saber light. Crack! The saber light tore through the beast claw, and a blue liquid that looked like blood spurted out. Clad in the alloy battle armor, Xiao Chen held up the tyrant's saber as he calmly watched the beast claw vanish. The fog sea churned, undercurrents surging. Who knew what kind of danger lurked there? I'm pretty lucky. Sheathing his saber, Xiao Qin took out a jade bottle and collected the blue liquid. This bottle contained primeval deep night liquid. He needed to refine it before he could extract it. After the heavenly realm shattered, the entire primal chaos space lost its stability long ago. The order of space and time fell into chaos. The area below the fog sea was an absolute forbidden zone. Even foe gods did not dare to casually enter. The foe beasts born under the fog sea possessed exceptionally horrifying strength. They were known as deep-sea foe beasts and normally would not show themselves. This was because once they showed themselves, the foe god world's experts would sense them. As long as they were not under the fog sea, foe god experts would be able to kill them easily. The primeval divine liquid that these deep-sea foe beasts left behind after they died was also a great temptation to foe gods. However, if someone like Xiao Qin went out, these deep-sea foe beasts would occasionally target them and attack them. If one got caught, one would die for sure. The sky was filled with primal chaos, and the ground was a land of boundlessly shattered pieces. A wild, primitive, and ancient aura lingered in the air. After leaving the holy domain, the foe god world appeared before Xiao Qin in a completely different style. 4 hours later, a huge ice continent appeared before Xiao Qin. This place was clearly very cold. However, the snowflakes drifting on the ice continent were made of flames. When they landed on an ordinary person, they would instantly burn them to ashes. Xiao Qin arrived at his destination, the Ice-Fire Wasteland. Chapter 2133. Ice-Fire Wasteland. Snowflakes made of flames drifted down on a desolate plain made of ice. While this looked strange, it was not strange in the foe god world. Even the sky of the primal chaos space was hazy, as if the world had yet to open. There were all sorts of chaotic chaos, primeval auras, an everlasting fog sea, and tears in the sky. Aside from the holy domain's divine capital, the foe god world was an undeveloped, savage land. There were fortuitous encounters and supreme treasures. Of course, there were dangers and forbidden lands. When Xiao Qin set off, he chose to activate the alloy battle armor. Clearly, his judgment was correct. The moment Xiao Qin landed on the desolate plain, a group of foe beasts leaped out and charged at him. These foe beasts looked ferocious, like ferocious dogs. These foe beasts had flaming fur all over their bodies. Even their faces were covered in fur. These foe beasts were about half the height of a person. Their fur trailed on the ground, revealing only a pair of primal chaos and empty eyes. These foe beasts' physical bodies seemed illusory, not made of flesh and blood, looking extremely strange. Mastiffs. Xiao Qin had made ample preparations before coming, allowing him to recognize the foe beasts before him. These were mastiffs, exceptionally ferocious. These mastiffs appeared in packs. Just one of them was as strong as a peak sovereign personage. They were tyrants of the Ice-Fire Wasteland. Even a heaven-defying sovereign personage would have to flee if they were alone. Otherwise, they would not survive at all. 10-odd mastiffs appeared and howled endlessly. When the flames rained on them, they did not cause them any harm. Instead, the flames increased their strength, making their flaming fur even brighter. When the mastiffs pounced over at the same time, they showed great ferocity. If they knocked Xiao Qin down and swarmed over, they could instantly tear the super-faction disciples to shreds. Xiao Qin had the alloy battle armor. Even if the mastiffs knocked him down, it would be hard for them to tear him to pieces. However, it was best not to get surrounded. Go then. Xiao Qin raised his left hand, and a red light flashed on his fingertip. The demon blood vulture appeared. It roared ferociously and fearlessly clashed with the 10-odd mastiffs. The demon blood vulture spread its wings. Its feathers were as bright as blood, flowing with light, looking as beautiful as scarlet flames. After traveling the foe god world with the little golden crow for half a year and obtaining some resources that Xiao Qin exchanged for, the demon blood vulture's strength soared. Now it was a great help to Xiao Qin. On top of that, it was the king of ferocious beasts. It was born with a strong demonic nature, and its bloodline had mutated. It did not fear these mastiffs at all. It spread its wings and fought with the dozen or so mastiffs, not letting a single one escape. Shao Chen knew that although the mastiffs were strong and their demonic might was ferocious, they would not be able to hold out for long if they were surrounded by 10-odd mastiffs. Thunder Monarch Spear. Shao Chen beckoned with his right hand, and the 5-element divine lightning activated with his Thunder Dao domain. It condensed into a short spear that was half a meter long. In an instant, lightning flashed on the surface of the short spear. It was incomparably dazzling and emitted a boundless might of thunder. The Thunder Monarch Spear was Shao Chen's trump card in the first place. The 5-element divine lightning was a wondrous treasure in the world. Now that his Thunder Dao's strength had improved greatly, he could drive it with his Thunder Dao domain and condense it into a spear that contained the 5-element Thunder Dao. Naturally, its might went without saying. So. The half-meter-long Thunder Monarch Spear looked solid as it shot out. Then, it split into 9, instantly striking the 9 mastiff. Their flesh tore, but no blood flowed out. Only some primal chaos chi leaked out. Shao Chen did not stop attacking, sending out several more Thunder Monarch Spears. The mastiffs, which already held the upper hand, immediately cried out in pain. The demon blood vulture let out a few strange laughs and immediately beat up the fallen mastiff. Then, it spat out a mouthful of scarlet flames, and demonic chi surged into the air. The 10-odd mastiffs were forced back. Then, they charged over ferociously, appearing very resilient. When the mastiffs charged over again, they went berserk. Their bodies expanded, and they were already the size of small mountains. Shao Chen did not care. To a heaven-defying sovereign personage, these were a pack of mastiffs that were extremely difficult to deal with. However, to Shao Chen, they were not worth mentioning. He had his own means to deal with them. Purple flower petals spun in Shao Chen's right eye, layering over each other and forming a purple lightning flower. Divine Lightning Eye. Whoosh! Shao Chen's Divine Lightning Eye had already reached the 6th layer. When he executed it, 36 thunderclouds filled the sky. Boom! Tribulation lightning descended at the same time. The many mastiffs were instantly blasted into tumbling on the ground, twitching endlessly. Miserable cries rang out. These mastiffs were huge, and when they crashed into the ground, they caused many cracks and shook the desolate plain. Whoosh! 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 The demon blood vulture turned into a beam of flowing light, darting about. As its claws tore, it nearly tore the mastiffs in half. What a powerful foe beast! Shao Chen thought to himself, with the demon blood vulture's claws, even a peak sovereign personage with a refined physical body would be torn to pieces. To think that these mastiffs are still intact, just severely injured. Indeed, one cannot use common sense to understand the bodies of foe beasts. If I get entangled, I might exhaust myself to death. After a few clashes, these mastiffs realized how powerful Shao Chen was. They started to circle around the demon blood vulture, charging at Shao Chen without a care for the price. However, Shao Chen smiled coldly. If they messed around like this, they would die even faster. Shao Chen used his movement technique and gently moved, leaving behind a purple mark. Then, he appeared elsewhere. If Shao Chen could not dodge, he would use the sharp spirit finger. The mountain-sized mastiff was sent flying by a single finger. It was a very strange sight. Shao Chen did not fight with these mastiff. Instead, he used the demon blood vulture as bait and brought out his Thunder Dao domain to its limit. He executed all sorts of lightning-related means. If the mastiffs got close, he would execute the sharp spirit finger. Shao Chen's veritable essence energy, soul energy, and vital qi filled his entire body. Then, he merged all his energy into one finger and flicked away the mastiff. Demon blood vulture, move aside. Shao Chen called out, and the demon blood vulture turned into a beam of scarlet light and quickly fled. Then, a great desolate Aeon candle dragon image appeared behind Shao Chen. 2 candle flames flickered in Xiao Chen's eyes. In the next moment, boundless ice flames landed on this pack of mastiff. After being tortured for a long time, the extremely resilient mastiffs could no longer move. The candle dragon flame burned the mastiff's long fur, slowly burning them. Whoosh! Wearing the alloy battle armor, Xiao Chen grasped the tyrant saber's scabbard on his back with his right hand. Then, he drew his saber and swung it around before walking forward. Xiao Chen looked like he was taking a leisurely stroll, killing a mastiff with one swing of his saber. These mastiffs, which could cause heaven-defying people to flee when they saw them, and which even half-step sovereign emperors had to spend a lot of effort on, were easily killed by Xiao Chen. The mastiffs' corpses scattered, turning into beams of light that entered the cracks in the sky. Only clumps of white primeval divine liquid remained on the ground. Xiao Chen took out a clump of primeval divine liquid and refined it before absorbing it into his body. Ripples appeared on his 9-star primal core as he absorbed all the primeval divine liquid. The bottleneck of Xiao Chen's cultivation immediately loosened, making Xiao Chen reveal joy on his face. After more than half a year, this was the first time his cultivation bottleneck had loosened. It looked like this primeval divine liquid was indeed effective. Ga. After the demon blood vulture circled in the sky, it turned into a palm-sized bird and landed on Xiao Chen's shoulder. Let's hunt the mastiffs then. Most of the other foe beasts are crafty. If we run into them alone, they might be easy to defeat or kill, but they will be problematic. These mastiffs are naturally ferocious and do not know when to advance or retreat. Furthermore, they move in packs, which suits me. If Yun Fei and the others knew that Xiao Chen started hunting mastiffs the first time he came to the ice-fire wasteland, their jaws would drop in shock. When they saw these mastiffs, they had to retreat. They were tyrants of the ice-fire wasteland. When they moved in packs, no one dared to clash with them. However, Xiao Chen stubbornly persisted. How could they not be shocked? In the following month, Xiao Chen spent his time hunting mastiff. As he became more familiar with the mastiff's nature, killing them became easier. As the difficulty increased, Xiao Chen went from killing 10-odd mastiffs at once to several dozen at a time. Eventually, he killed 100 horrifying mastiff. When Xiao Chen had free time, he would study the painting that fiendish demon Shi Mu gave him. Lu Benwei had already given him the second painting. Xiao Chen managed to make out some things. He discovered that this painting seemed to contain some kind of saber technique that he could not figure out. Xiao Chen was in no rush. He just took his time to study it. At this moment, raising his cultivation was still his priority. As time passed, all the cultivators on experiential training in the ice-fire wasteland's periphery came to know that such a ruthless person gave Xiao Chen the nickname Dog-Killing Demon. Normally, when ordinary people saw mastiffs charging in packs, the rational ones would flee for now, not fighting with these mad dogs that did not fear death. However, Xiao Chen did the opposite, hunting more than 100 mastiffs in one go. Furthermore, Xiao Chen did not allow others to interfere. This made everyone tremble in fear. They were even more afraid of Xiao Chen than of a mastiff. Chapter 2134. The ice-fire wasteland was about 1/10 the size of the Holy Domain. Even to sovereign personages, it was vast. The ice-fire wasteland was divided into the periphery, the inner area, and the core. After passing the core, there was a boundless lightning sea. Even foe gods would not be able to traverse the entire lightning sea. Xiao Chen did not have much ambition. For the past few days, he had been killing foe beast mastiffs in the ice-fire wasteland's periphery. After 1 month, he had already killed more than 1,000 mastiff. This was a horrifying number. On average, Xiao Chen killed 30-odd mastiffs every day. Even Mu Yunzhu would have to put in a lot of effort to kill 30-odd mastiffs when they attacked together. Of course, it was more likely that Xiao Chen did not know how to kill mastiffs at all. The mastiff's strength was still acceptable. The main thing was that they moved in packs. Most importantly, they had a berserk nature in their bones. Compared to the crafty and intelligent foe beasts, the mastiffs would not rest until one of them died. Killing mastiffs was a waste of effort. Since that was the case, Mu Yunju might as well enter the inner area or the periphery and take the risk to kill those high-ranked foe beasts. Xiao Chen was different. Right now, he could kill 100 mastiffs in one go. If he used all sorts of means, the mastiffs would not be able to run even if they wanted to. In the past month, I refined 150 kilograms of primeval divine liquid. The bottleneck has loosened significantly. Compared to closed-door cultivation, I have improved a lot. However, I still have not broken through this bottleneck. Outside the ice-fire wasteland, Xiao Chen, who was currently hunting a pack of mastiffs, frowned slightly, feeling somewhat dissatisfied with his progress. Xiao Chen obtained 150 kilograms of primeval divine liquid in 1 month. Furthermore, he was only a great perfection sovereign personage. If others found out about this harvest, they would feel envious. Xiao Chen's friends had to work together in this ice-fire wasteland to obtain such a harvest. However, Xiao Chen was very strict with himself. Time in the foe god world is too precious. After casually knocking away a mastiff that pounced over, Xiao Chen split his attention and thought about something else. During the battle between the demon blood vulture and the mastiffs, Xiao Chen happened to discover that the demon blood vulture could consume foe beasts. The mastiff's ferocious might was extremely compatible with its nature, allowing it to grow quickly. Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows. Suddenly, he noticed that the 100-odd mastiffs that he had been hunting suddenly began to run away when they saw that they were about to fall into a desperate situation. He ran away. The mastiffs ran amok in the periphery of the ice-fire wasteland due to their frenzied and ferocious nature. A large part of the reason people ran when they saw them was that they would not rest until they were dead. But now, this group of mastiffs that were the size of small mountains actually ran away when they were on the verge of death. Don't tell me you're scared of me. Xiao Chen had hunted more than 1,000 mastiffs, but this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. He was stunned for a moment before he reacted. Chase! Xiao Chen gently leaped up and landed on the demon blood vulture's back, frantically giving chase. Seeing that the harvest was about to begin, the 100-odd mastiffs actually began to flee. There was no reason to let go of a cooked duck. Thunder Monarch Spear. On the demon blood vulture's back, Xiao Chen waved his hand and 9 short spears containing the daos of the 5 elements, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, shot out. Each half-meter-long Thunder Monarch spear was like a treasure weapon, flickering with light and bursting with electric light. When they connected, they looked like a 5-element world, exuding an extremely strong pressure. Bang! When the 9 Thunder Monarch spears landed, they immediately killed 9 mastiff. Then, they exploded, killing another 10-odd mastiff. Xiao Chen gently pushed off with his feet and hovered in the air, getting the demon blood vulture to continue giving chase. He landed and waited for the mastiffs' corpses to scatter and the primeval divine liquid to appear. When the primeval divine liquid appeared, Xiao Chen waved his hand and collected it into a jade bottle. Divine Firmament 9 Variations, Everlasting Thunder Shadow. The instant Xiao Chen landed, he executed the Divine Firmament 9 Variations, leaving a purple mark. In the next moment, he reappeared on the demon blood vulture's back. When 100-odd mastiffs fled at the same time, the commotion they caused was incredibly huge. When the other trial-takers saw this scene along the way, they were all frightened silly. Some of them could not dodge in time and even got injured by the mastiff. Am I seeing things? Why is there someone chasing after mastiffs? The mastiffs that are like mad dogs actually fled. I'm not hallucinating, right? This is my first time seeing someone chasing after mastiffs. In the past, we always ran when we saw mastiff. It's him. The dog-killing frenzied demon. No wonder. Turns out to be the dog-killing frenzied demon. At first, when the cultivators along the way saw the hill-sized mastiffs fleeing wildly, they were all startled. However, when they saw Shao Chen wearing the alloy battle armor on the demon blood vulture's back, they all revealed expressions of understanding, no longer feeling surprised. Everyone in the ice-fire wasteland's periphery already knew about the dog-killing frenzied demon. Some people even took the initiative to lead the mastiffs to where Shao Chen was when they had nowhere to run. However, Shao Chen did not say anything. Who is this person? When a group of cultivators in black clothes with flaming clouds hurried along the ice-fire wasteland's periphery saw this scene, they marveled at it and stopped. The one who spoke was a youth with an extraordinary aura. He actually surpassed a heaven-defying sovereign personage, a half-step sovereign emperor. Senior Brother Fong, this is the Heavenly Alliance's Shao Chen, the Heavenly Alliance's youngest member. Back then, he was the one who broke the records of the first and second floors. How incredible! To think that he chased after a group of mastiffs. How strong! I heard that he said that he would not fear Mu Yunju after half a year on the comprehension platform. However, Mu Yunju avoided him after half a year. I heard that he did not break the record back then. Furthermore, what is so great about killing these mastiffs? They are just some rabid dogs that no one is willing to offend. The true experts are like Senior Brother Fong, charging into the ice-fire wasteland's core. The Universe Origin sect disciples felt disdain for Shao Chen. After the man with the family name Fong listened for a long time, he lost interest. He only looked at Shao Chen's alloy battle armor in a somewhat distracted manner. How unfortunate! To think that he went to kill dogs while wearing the alloy battle armor. If it were me, I would be fully confident in this trip. The alloy battle armor. This was the foundation of the Heavenly Alliance's members. If they did not have sufficient accumulations, they needed resources. Any member of a super faction would covet the alloy battle armor. However, that was just that. Even if non-Heavenly Alliance members snatched the alloy battle armor, they would not be able to activate it. They could only look at it. Let's go. We still have something to do. The man with the family name Fong withdrew his gaze and led the Universe Origin sect disciples to the depths of the ice-fire wasteland. The appearance of this group of people attracted some attention in the ice-fire wasteland's periphery. This immediately incited discussions, guessing what they were going to do. It's Fong Xiaobai, one of the Universe Origin sect's top 10 disciples. He is a half-step sovereign emperor. I wonder why he is here? The ice-fire wasteland has been very lively recently. It seems like some of the top 10 disciples of the various superfactions are here. Could it be the ice-fire divine origin in the core? That might really be possible. Looking at the time, the ice-fire divine origin should be about to appear. Should we go and take a look? Never mind. Every time the ice-fire divine origin appears, there will be people dying. As long as we can safely survive 10 years in the faux god world, it will be a great opportunity. There is no need to risk our lives. That's right. Many outstanding talents did not know how to restrain themselves and ended up dying. We do not have the lives of outstanding talents, so there is no need to worry about the hearts of outstanding talent. We just do what we need to do. These words were very true. Compared to outsiders, being able to enter the faux god world was a great opportunity. There was indeed no need for ordinary people to get greedy. It was important to understand one's own strength. Even so, there were still some people in the ice-fire wasteland's periphery who felt tempted when they heard that the ice-fire divine origin was about to appear, so they quietly flew to the inner area. At this moment, Shao Chen did not know about this. He continued his great task of killing the mastiff. After a chase, only a few of the 100-odd mastiffs remained. Only 10-odd were still running wildly. If not for waiting for the corpses to scatter and collecting the primeval divine liquid, which took some time, these mastiffs would not have wasted so much time. As Shao Chen gave chase, he thought to himself, faux beasts are intelligent as well. Although the mastiffs have a crazed, reckless spirit in their bones, it is not strange for them to wake up after being killed for more than a month. However, hunting mastiffs in the future would be somewhat problematic. If Xiao Chun had to chase after them for half a day every time, it would be a waste of time. The gains would not make up for the losses. It looks like I will have to enter the ice-fire wasteland's inner area in advance. The mastiffs have become smarter. I cannot continue this business. How tiring! Xiao Chun finally dealt with the final tenod mastiff. He had chased them for more than 6 hours. It was not very tiring, but it did take some time. Ga. Just at this moment, the demon blood vulture suddenly turned wary. It seemed to sense some danger, and all its feathers swelled up. Master, I feel that something is wrong. Xiao Chun did not sense anything wrong. However, the demon blood vulture was a ferocious beast. Compared to humans, it had an instinctive sense of unknown danger. Let's go. After carefully looking around, Xiao Chun leaped onto the demon blood vulture's back and returned the way they came. After flying 50,000 kilometers calmly, rows of mastiffs appeared at the limits of Xiao Chun's vision. Their chaotic and lifeless eyes flickered with a scarlet light as they looked coldly and emotionlessly at him. Boom! Large patches of black clouds appeared in the sky above these mastiff. When Xiao Chun looked around, the churning black clouds charged at him from all directions. Soon, the demonic clouds gathered in all directions, and the sky instantly turned dark. Clatter! Clatter! Heavy footsteps resounded. The seemingly densely packed mastiffs blocked off all directions, encircling Xiao Chun step by step. It turned out that during the chase, Xiao Chun had arrived at an extremely desolate place in the ice-fire wasteland's periphery. The demon blood vulture under Xiao Chun's feet trembled slightly. Clearly, it felt afraid of so many mastiff. Master, what should we do? The demon blood vulture had never seen such a large formation before. Despite its demonic nature and fearless nature, it actually felt somewhat timid. The demon blood vulture looked around and saw the densely packed mastiff. There were at least 4,000 or 5,000 of them. All the mastiffs in the entire ice-fire wasteland were probably here for Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun's expression did not change as he muttered to himself, "Even the dogs are scheming like humans. How much hatred do they have?" Chapter 2135. When Xiao Chun looked around, there were at least 4,000 or 5,000 mastiffs in all directions. Although Xiao Chun had easily hunted down 100 mastiffs, that was already his limit. If the number increased by half, he would not be able to handle it. Doubling the number was probably his limit. If the number increased by 3 times, he would not even turn and run after taking another look. Now that the number reached such a level, there was no need to rush to run. Even if he wanted to run, he could not. Since when did dogs become more like wolves, knowing how to use strategies and listen to commands? Strange, Xiao Chun looked around and finally saw a mastiff that stood out from the rest in the east. This mastiff was completely snow-white. It stood out among the other mastiffs with flaming fur, looking very out of place. A light flickered in the mastiff's eyes, filled with spirituality. The instant the mastiffs met, Xiao Chun felt a chill run down his spine. This white mastiff should be the king of this pack of mastiff. If Xiao Chun guessed right, it was the one who planned this plan. Despite being in danger, Xiao Chun did not panic. He calmly thought of a countermeasure. Roar, roar, roar. Low roars resounded in the surroundings. Every mastiff looked coldly at Xiao Chun. They were only waiting for the order to tear Xiao Chun to shreds and tear him to shreds. The roars were somewhat vexing. Xiao Chun looked up at the sky. Demonic clouds already covered the shattered sky, preventing him from seeing it clearly. One could not fly too high in the faux god world. This was because the sky was shattered, with spatial tears everywhere. Space-time reversed currents were everywhere. If one was not careful, one would get sucked into some darn place. One would not be able to come out for the rest of one's life. Hence, aside from the holy domain's divine capital, all the other places were forbidden zones. This pack of mastiffs stirred up demonic clouds, covering this space. Space-time reversed currents and spatial tears could not be seen clearly. If Xiao Chen dared to flee through the sky, he would definitely die a tragic death. Boom! Suddenly, that snow-white mastiff let out a long howl, causing cracks to appear in the desolate plains below. The surrounding mastiffs launched themselves at Xiao Chen. Their mountain-sized bodies shot over like sharp arrows. Under such pressure, the demon blood vulture's ferocious might was brought out as it cried out. The demon blood vulture flapped its wings, and a scarlet tornado appeared, churning violently. Plop! Plop! When the mastiffs crashed into the scarlet tornado, they were immediately mangled and blasted back. However, there were simply too many of them. As they continued to attack, the power of the storm gradually weakened. Several mastiffs passed through the storm, barking at Xiao Chen with ferocious expressions. Even before it got close, the sound waves from its roar were enough to make one's head spin. It penetrated deep into one's soul pool and reverberated endlessly. Foe beasts were born in the primal chaos space. They innately grasped all kinds of great daos, just that they did not know how to use them. Their techniques were crude, but in reality, their power was not ordinary. Xiao Chen's expression remained calm as the dragon roar in his body spread out and clashed with the sound waves from the mastiffs. The two clashed endlessly, producing intense sounds. Even before the battle had begun, it was already incomparably intense. Xiao Chen calmly watched the mastiffs lunging at him. Then, he pressed down on his saber without moving, not flustered or flustered at all. His gaze was calm as he looked at the mastiffs that were charging at him. He held onto his weapon and did not move. He did not panic and did not panic at all. In Xiao Chen's vision, the figures of these mastiffs grew larger and larger until they occupied his entire vision. Kill! Just at this crucial moment, Xiao Chen drew the tyrant saber. Whoosh! A resplendent saber light shot out from the saber. Under the state of martial and soul as one, Xiao Chen stored up power and chopped with his saber. Whoosh! The mastiffs cried out miserably at the same time. Blood spurted out. However, this blood lost its color when illuminated by the saber light. Clearly, it was not practical to use the sharp spirit finger now. The sharp spirit finger could knock back the enemy, but not kill them. When hunting, it was best to use it to knock back the enemy and prevent the mastiffs from getting close. However, now, he wanted this group of beasts to not return. If they dared to come, they would die. Under the state of martial and soul as one, Xiao Chen executed his flawless saber dao. All the mastiffs that came over were merciless. With his full power, he killed them with one saber strike. 10-odd mastiffs immediately died amid mournful cries. However, there was still an unending stream of them, unending. Master, I can't hold on any longer. 1 hour later, the demon blood vulture said in Xiao Chen's mind. The demon blood vulture was different from Xiao Chen. Without the alloy battle armor, the mastiffs could take its life in a few bites. The demon blood vulture had been able to help Xiao Chen last until now, blocking most of the mastiffs and holding on for 1 hour, which was already very rare. Come back then. There's no rush. I still have one last strike. The demon blood vulture ignored Xiao Chen's words. It suddenly left Xiao Chen's feet, and its entire body blazed with a fierce flame. However, as the intense flame burned, the demon blood vulture's gargantuan body slowly condensed and shrank. However, the light on its body became increasingly intense. Even the saber light that Xiao Chen sent out with the martial and soul merger regained its color. When the demon blood vulture was palm-sized, the surrounding scarlet storm suddenly vanished. In an instant, the hundreds of mastiffs that had been blocked outside charged at Xiao Chen. The scene was extremely dangerous. The martial arts that Xiao Chen practiced could not kill all these mastiffs except in the human world. The consequences were extremely terrifying. Over 100 mastiffs pounced on him, and even with the protection of the alloy armor, he would still be seriously injured. Just as Shao Chen prepared to execute in the mortal realm, the palm-sized demon blood vulture covered in a jade-like scarlet light remained. Like an arrow, it shot out. Xiao! The demon blood vulture's body stabbed into a mastiff's eye. Then, it spun its wings and pierced through the mastiff's brain. Ka! A jade-like scarlet light shone as the demon blood vulture's body shot out like an arrow, turning into a beam of light and piercing through the heads of the many mastiff. In an instant, these hundreds of mastiffs were like paper before the demon blood vulture's strongest killing move, killing them all. The originally densely packed mastiffs, which nearly suffocated Shao Chen, all fell to the ground. Shao Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. How strong! Even if Shao Chen executed entering hell, he would not be able to kill all these mastiff. However, the demon blood vulture did it. Before Shao Chen could sigh, he saw the demon blood vulture's body turn dim and wobbly after executing this killing move. A mastiff pounced over and opened its jaws, preparing to swallow the demon blood vulture. Scram! Divine Firmament 9 Variations, Traceless Lightning Shadow. Leaving behind a faint purple mark, he appeared in front of the mastiff and sent it flying with a vicious kick. The demon blood vulture quickly turned into a beam of scarlet light and returned to Shao Chen's fingertip, turning into a ring. Master, this is a killing move that I learned from Big Brother Little Yellowfeather. It's pretty good, right? The demon blood vulture's voice rang out, sounding very weak. However, it seemed to be waiting for Shao Chen's praise. Shao Chen felt some heartache as he said, "Quickly rest. You are very strong. You did what I, your master, could not do." Damn it. However, I'm too tired. I can't help master anymore. The demon blood vulture let out a strange laugh at first. Then, its voice grew softer until it stopped. Shao Chen looked around. After the demon blood vulture's massacre, there were at least 1,000 mastiff corpses on the ground. Martial and soul as one required merging the will of the martial Tao and the will of soul. Every time one attacked, one could bring out 120% of a cultivator's combat prowess, even 50%. Hence, Shao Chen could kill a mastiff with one saber strike. However, in the state of martial and soul as one, the drain on veritable essence energy and soul energy was immense. With the protection of the alloy battle armor, Shao Chen's physical body would not be affected in such an intense battle. However, it was hard to say how long he could last. When Shao Chen looked around, he saw that the snow-white mastiffs were still in formation. Despite the huge losses, this pack of mastiffs did not panic, preparing for the next wave of attack. It was already very unusual for them to disregard all costs to fight like this. Shao Chen took a rough look and estimated that there were at least 4,000 mastiff. If he continued fighting, he would definitely die. When he ran out of veritable essence energy, he would definitely die. Charge out! Shao Chen looked around and fixed his gaze on the snow-white mastiff. Then, he immediately charged at the snow-white mastiff. The key to breaking out of this situation was this snow-white mastiff. With this beast in formation, it was practically impossible to charge out in any other direction. Only by fighting with this beast, and making it unable to give orders, would he be able to fight for a chance of survival. Even though he knew that this beast was as strong as a half-step sovereign emperor, he had to fight to the death. Chapter 2136. Whoosh! Seeing Shao Chen fly towards the white mastiff, the many other mastiffs launched themselves at Shao Chen, trying to block his way. Under the white mastiff's command, the originally clumsy and ferocious mastiffs actually knew when to advance and when to retreat. They knew how to block Shao Chen, how to delay him, how to disrupt and harass Shao Chen. This made Shao Chen's advance very difficult. That white mastiff stood at the top and did not back down. It only looked at Shao Chen coldly, like it wanted to give him hope. As Shao Chen arranged his troops, the mastiffs in the other directions also took the opportunity to surround him. Before Shao Chen advanced halfway, The alloy battle armor that he wore turned black from the mastiff's blood. Mastiffs were not made of flesh and blood. Although it was called blood, it was actually just the strange liquid in their bodies. Halfway through, Xiao Chen was horrified to discover that the distance between him and the white mastiff did not shrink. Instead, it increased significantly. What's going on? After a moment of shock, Xiao Chen suddenly understood. It turned out that when this white mastiff was commanding the black flame beasts, the black flame beasts did not move at all. It turned out that when the white mastiff commanded the other mastiffs to change their angle, it looked like they were continuously killing mastiffs and pressing in. In reality, Xiao Chen was being led by the nose by the mastiff. As he advanced and retreated, he had already changed his original direction. If Xiao Chen had not startled awake, he would not have reached the white mastiff even if he killed for the rest of his life. Such a scheme sent a chill down Xiao Chen's spine. Even some intelligent humans would not be able to come up with such a scheme. To think that the white mastiff was so smart. Damn it! When Xiao Chen thought about how he got tricked by a dog, he could not help feeling angry. Coupled with the fact that the continuous battles were all in vain, it caused a trace of fluctuation to appear in his tranquil state of mind. When Xiao Chen looked up, he saw that the white mastiff was still looking at him coldly. However, to Xiao Chen now, there was an additional trace of mockery in its gaze. Calm down. If I am not careful, I might die here. Every month, outstanding talents from the outside world would fall in the faux god world, losing their originally great futures. In the past, Xiao Chen felt astonished. Human cultivators had many trump cards and various means. How could they still die to faux beast? Now, he himself had fallen into such a dangerous situation. If he was the slightest bit careless, he would lose his life. It had to be said that it was somewhat ironic. Xiao Chen withdrew from the state of martial and soul as one. Given the current situation, before his veritable essence energy and soul energy ran out, he would not be able to escape. With the state of martial and spirit as one, Xiao Chen would not be able to kill all the mastiff. He might as well save some energy for the white mastiff. There was no way out. The mastiffs were already chasing after them. Their only chance of survival was to charge forward. Humph, I don't believe that I, Xiao Chen, will die under the siege of a bunch of mad dogs. Xiao Chen snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, a scroll slowly unfurled. It slowly rose into the sky. When it fully unfurled, a Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram appeared in the sky. The universe origin true flame and the heavenly snow divine flame chased each other in the sky. Yin-Yang, the 4 divisions, the 8 trigrams, all sorts of mysterious phenomena appeared. Xiao Chen held his saber with his right hand and raised his left palm to the sky, circulating the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram with all his might. Immediately, an overwhelming might spread out from the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram. Xiao Chen quickly withdrew his saber, and the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram descended from the sky. The Taiji force field appeared under Xiao Chen's feet, trapping the mastiff. Xiao Chen moved between yin and yang, moving erratically. He raised his saber and swung it, continuously killing the mastiff. The snow-white mastiff felt somewhat flustered. In this Taiji force field, it could no longer command the mastiff. Trapped in the Taiji force field, the mastiffs moved very slowly. They still had to block Xiao Chen's saber light and could not even take care of themselves, unable to carry out the white mastiff's commands. Without the white mastiff's command, the berserk mastiffs reverted to their original nature. Their threat to Xiao Chen was greatly reduced. Xiao Chen had no choice but to use the trump card that he had prepared for this white mastiff in advance. Whoosh! Xiao Chen's figure moved like lightning as he controlled the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram, weaving through the many mastiffs, advancing quickly. Soon, the white mastiff arrived before him. Resolving the mundane. Without any hesitation, Xiao Chen entered the state of martial and soul as one and soared into the air. Then, with his 7-fold killing chi, he executed resolving the mundane. However, something strange happened. Xiao Chun was already very fast. However, that white mastiff seemed to have figured out when Xiao Chun was going to make his move. It was like an experienced cultivator. Before the eternal and inextinguishable saber light completely formed, the white mastiff pounced over like a bolt of white lightning. It pounced over like a bolt of white lightning, roaring in midair and slapping its claw over. This claw contained many chaotic great daos. It was very crude and extremely primitive. However, the great daos were vast and mighty, directly shattering Xiao Chen's incomplete resolving the mundane. Pu Ci. Xiao Chen nearly spat out a mouthful of blood as he moved back. Incredulity flashed in his eyes. Without waiting for the other party to attack, Xiao Chen materialized Firmament's rage with his left hand and threw a palm strike. The white mastiff wanted to charge forward and kill Xiao Chen. However, a huge palm containing the Tao of the five-element divine lightning struck it. The snow-white mastiff's huge body was smashed to the ground by the palm. The white mastiff also showed shock in its eyes, clearly surprised. It was like a seasoned hunter, roaring continuously. The many mastiffs that were not trapped in the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram leaped into the air, moving as nimbly as bird. Leaping through the air, they were as agile as birds as they slowly surrounded him. Buddha in the mortal realm, quelling the seas and desolation. Xiao Chen snorted coldly, and a swastika appeared on his forehead. Then ancient Buddhist chants reverberated. A hole appeared in the black demonic clouds in the sky. Then, the supreme killing Buddha descended and pushed its palms in all directions. Bang! In an instant, the 1,000-odd mastiffs flying over were all knocked back. Cracks appeared on their physical bodies. Entering hell, Xiao Chen chose to fight the white mastiff so that it could not care about anything else, unable to command the other mastiff. Seeing the white mastiff use the same trick, how could Xiao Chen let it do as it wished? He executed Buddha in the mortal realm and knocked back the 1,000-odd mastiff. Then, he held up an evil dragon materialized from the Azura hell and chopped down. With this saber strike, a world-destroying evil dragon appeared. It bared its fangs and claws, looking like it wanted to swallow the world. Although the white mastiff was strong, it was still a foe beast in the end. It could not practice martial techniques like human cultivators. This was Xiao Chen's strongest saber strike. It instantly gained a suppressive advantage as it pressed down. Boom! The evil dragon knocked back the huge mastiff for 5,000 kilometers like it was a snowy mountain. After it landed, another loud sound rang out. A huge pit appeared in the ground, and a pillar of flame shot up into the sky. After the Azura hell disappeared, Xiao Chen wore the alloy battle armor, looking very heroic. He held his saber and appeared very tyrannical. Whoosh! 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 Divine Firmament 9 variations, traceless lightning shadow. He left behind only a few faint purple marks. Then, 5,000 kilometers away, Xiao Chen charged over at lightning speed. Roar! A terrifying sound wave suddenly rang out, and visible ripples spread out. Caught off guard, Xiao Chen held his saber horizontally in front of him and got knocked back. Whoosh! 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 After stabilizing himself, Xiao Chen tightly grasped his tyrant saber and swung it in the air a few times, scattering the remaining sound wave energy on him. After a few swings, saber winds howled, and a strong wind blew in all directions. Xiao Chen's long hair fluttered about, and blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. Doubt flashed in his eyes. This white mastiff was overly strong. Mastiffs were strong because they moved in packs. They were strong because of the madness in their bones. Individually, any heaven-defying sovereign personage could easily crush them. While Xiao Chen's cultivation was not high, he did not fear fighting a half-step sovereign emperor alone. The white mastiff placed its 2 palms on the edge of the huge pit. Then, it leaped up and charged at Xiao Chen again. Let's see how strong you are. A golden light burned in Xiao Chen's eyes as he instantly activated his blue dragon bloodline. At the same time, He entered the state of martial and soul as one again. Whoosh! Whoosh! Shao Chen swung the tyrant saber in his hand a few more times. Saber lights flickered in this black and white world, appearing dazzling. Under the effects of his great desolate Ian bloodline, Shao Chen activated martial and soul as one. With a few random swings, he kicked up a strong wind that made the ferocious white mastiff stagger. 10,000 Dragons picture. The 10,000 Dragons picture appeared indistinctly behind Shao Chen. Boundless dragon roars resounded as Shao Chen fought an intense battle with this white mastiff in his peak state. There was no time. He needed to deal with this white mastiff quickly. The mastiff pack that he knocked back earlier was closing in again. However, even though Shao Chen was in his peak state, he did not have the strength to execute any of his martial technique. He had already executed his strongest Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique earlier and could not execute it again within a short time. I still have the flawless saber Dao. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Shao Chen saw the mastiff lolling its fangs and charging over. So, he decided to use his flawless saber Dao as the final strike. The flawless saber Dao was not about perfection. It was about a heart that pursued perfection. Heart as a saber, body as a saber, hair as a saber, will as a saber. Ding, dang, dang, dang. Shao Chen brandished his saber. His steps were like that of an immortal, moving nimbly and refined. Strands of saber light flickered on Shao Chen's body. 3,000 strands of hair were 3,000 saber light. Every part of the alloy battle armor was a resplendent saber light. A zither-like saber hum rang out in the 5,000 kilometers of desolate plains. Just at this moment, Shao Chen suddenly remembered the first painting that senior fiendish saber Shi Mu gave him. Lush mountains, clear waters, white clouds, and wild cranes flying in the sky. If there is no one in the painting, for whom are the green mountains? If there is no one in the painting, for whom are the green waters flowing? I understand now. A bright light suddenly flashed in Shao Chen's eyes as he listened to the zither-like saber hum echoing in the 5,000 kilometers of desolate plains. It reverberated in the mountains, wanton in the wind, rejoicing with all things in this vast world. However, if one opened one's eyes and looked, the mountains were mountains, the water was water. The most ordinary scenery in the world was just that. If there is no one in the painting, for whom are they? The green mountains are the green mountains, the green waters are the green waters, the white clouds are the white clouds. All things have spirits, all things are fiends. What is a fiend? Shao Chen reared his head back and laughed. Then, he suddenly gave up on the white mastiffs and pointed his saber at the sky. What is a fiend? I rejoice with all things. The world fell silent. In the next moment, the vast desolate plains rejoiced with Shao Chen. Boundless saber lights burst out of the mountains and the ground. At this moment, all things rejoiced together. Resplendent saber lights filled the vast desolate plains. Aside from Shao Chen, the others were pierced by thousands of saber lights. When the saber lights scattered, all the mastiffs were destroyed, leaving only countless drops of primeval divine liquid floating in the surroundings. Chapter 2137. The green mountains were the green mountains, and the white clouds were the white clouds. Bloodline activation, alloy battle armor, martial and soul as one. In his peak state, he had to use his strongest killing move. What is a fiend? I rejoice with all things. With just one move, Shao Chen killed all the mastiffs within 500,000 kilometers in his strongest state. As his bloodline slowly faded, Shao Chen exited the state of martial and soul as one. He should have exhausted his veritable essence energy and soul energy, but he felt refreshed and carefree. However, he felt refreshed and carefree, and his entire body was surging with power. I broke through. Shao Chen broke through the final bottleneck of a great perfection sovereign personage with this moment of comprehension. He became a peak sovereign personage, sweeping away all his fatigue and weakness. When one's strength improved, no amount of resources could compare to an instant of comprehension. The old saying was indeed true. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao Chen's figure flashed, moving as fast as lightning as he arrived beside the white mastiff's corpse. The white mastiff was merely a half-step sovereign emperor. Given Xiao Chen's strength, he would not feel any pressure fighting it alone. Foe beasts were different from humans. They did not know martial techniques or chaotic Dao domains, much less mental states. Within the same cultivation realm, a mediocre person would not be a match for a foe beast. However, if a foe beast was not special, it would not be sufficient to face an outstanding talent. However, this white mastiff before Xiao Chen forced Xiao Chen into danger several times. Even fighting it alone was somewhat difficult. If Xiao Chen had not comprehended the painting that the foe god expert fiendish saber Shi Mu left behind at the last moment, it would have been a Pyrrhic victory. How to deal with the remaining mastiffs would have been a problem. Its intelligence was monstrous, inspiring fear. Xiao Chen felt very curious about what was so special about this white mastiff for it to be so difficult to deal with. Compared to the other mastiffs, the white mastiff's corpse dissipated very slowly. Most of its body still remained. What is this? Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows slightly. A black jade pendant appeared in the white mastiff's disappearing head. This jade pendant was clearly refined by a cultivator. A foe beast would not have something like this. Xiao Chen's expression immediately changed and became somewhat gloomy. This white mastiff was being controlled by someone. From the mastiff's strange escape, someone had set up a trap for him, waiting for him to jump into it. No, perhaps, from the moment he left the Holy Region's divine capital, he had already been targeted. After killing mastiffs for a month, someone finally found an opportunity to set up this trap. If Xiao Chen died, it would be a perfect plan. Who knew how many outstanding talents had died at the hands of foe beasts? Over the past month, many people had personally witnessed him madly killing mastiff. Dying to the mastiff's vengeance was completely justifiable and would not arouse any suspicions. It was simply flawless. The black jade pendant no longer had any spiritual qi. It looked like a black stone, a broken stone. Xiao Chen picked it up and looked around. The person who came had planned this meticulously. Clearly, Xiao Chen had many misgivings. He feared exposing his identity or that his true body was not in the ice-fire wasteland at all. Who will kill me? As Xiao Chen looked at the black jade pendant, he entered deep thought. His thoughts raced as he thought of many things. Many people's faces appeared in his mind. However, in the end, Xiao Chen suddenly laughed. See. Xiao Chen clenched his right fist, and the black jade pendant in his hand shattered into dust. It did not matter who it was. The important thing was that he was still alive. As long as he could survive, the truth would come to light sooner or later. Overthinking was not good. Now that Xiao Chen had gained enlightenment and made a breakthrough in his cultivation, he gained many more comprehensions of the martial Tao. There was no need to waste time on this. Demon Blood Vulture, come out! Xiao Chen woke up the Demon Blood Vulture. Now that he had broken through the bottleneck of his cultivation, he no longer needed this vast amount of primeval divine liquid. Master, what's wrong? After waking up, the Demon Blood Vulture appeared somewhat weakly. However, when it saw the densely packed primeval divine liquid, it was stunned. My goodness! Master, how did you do it? To think that you killed all these mastiffs! Xiao Chen glanced at the corpse of the white mastiff, which had yet to completely disappear, and said, Stop speaking nonsense. Quickly swallow them all. They are all yours. These are the white mastiff's corpses. They are also yours. I won't fight with you over them. The Demon Blood Vulture immediately felt like it was dreaming. Really? When have I ever joked? Gagaga. Thank you, Master. In that case, I won't stand on ceremony. A bunch of trash. In the end, Grandpa will still consume them. Perhaps I can take advantage of this opportunity to make a breakthrough. The originally weak demon blood vulture immediately perked up and let out strange cries. Its cries sounded incredibly arrogant, as if it had forgotten itself. Xiao Qin thought for a while and looked for a quiet place to land. Then, he took out the first painting that Lu Benwei had given him. Lush mountains, clear water, white clouds, and wild cranes flying in the sky. In the past, Xiao Qin could not understand it. He could only vaguely sense that the painting contained an indescribable Tao. This should be the inheritance of some special saber technique. However, Lu Benwei did not say anything, and Xiao Qin had not even seen fiendish saber Shimu. When Xiao Qin focused and brought out his flawless saber Tao to its limits, he finally understood. Perhaps I can use this opportunity to complete my saber Tao in one go and comprehend the Tao of the saber Tao. A bright light flashed in Xiao Qin's eyes as he stared at the painting. The lush mountains, clear water, and white clouds in the painting all came to life, demonstrating his Tao to him. Xiao Qin gently loosened his grip, and the painting floated in front of him without any external force. All things rejoiced together. This is my comprehension. My flawless saber Tao clearly benefited a lot from this. If I can make another breakthrough from this and gain some more comprehension, I will definitely be able to break through to the Tao of the saber Tao. The expression in Xiao Qin's eyes became increasingly resolute. As he stared at the painting, he slowly became immersed in it, forgetting some things. He forgot about his flawless saber Tao, where he was, and his original purpose. It was like he had entered the painting, becoming entranced. Whoosh! After some time, the painting before Xiao Qin burst into flames. He startled awake, feeling like he was dreaming. Just earlier, he felt like he had a very long dream. In the dream, he turned into stone, flowing water, and a tall mountain in one moment. It was not that his soul had been imprisoned. Instead, he had really turned into a tall mountain and flowing water. In the dream, he could feel the majesty of the mountain, the joy of the water, the tranquility of the trees, and all sorts of emotions. In the dream, Xiao Qin had forgotten everything. Now that he suddenly startled awake, the painting before him burned. Xiao Qin quickly stepped forward, wanting to put out the flame. This was something that the foe god had given him. It was hard to say how much it was worth. The crucial thing was that the foe god had not stated clearly whether he had given it to Xiao Qin or not. If the other party wanted it back, Xiao Qin would feel like crying. However, the flame burned too quickly. By the time Xiao Qin reacted, the painting had already burned up, turning into ashes. The demon blood vulture slowly descended from the sky. Xiao Qin sighed helplessly and asked, "How long did I comprehend the Tao for?" "Master, you maintained that strange posture for a total of 10 days. Just 10 days? Why do I feel like several hundred years have passed?" Xiao Qin said softly, feeling disappointed and frustrated. Then, he looked at his surroundings again, feeling very mysterious. The entire ice-fire wasteland seemed different to his eyes. As he looked around curiously, Xiao Qin was shocked to discover that this world was truly different. Without any effort, he could feel the flow of everything. He could even see the wind. The wind was formless. Without any reference, it would be impossible to discover it. However, in Xiao Qin's eyes, the wind was like a child jumping around. This feeling was very mysterious. Although his combat prowess did not increase, the wondrous feeling was indescribable. Unfortunately, my saber Tao domain is still lacking. I feel that I should be able to grasp the saber Tao domain. If the foe god gives me pointers, I will be able to immediately comprehend it. Shaking his head, Xiao Qin turned his head to look at the demon blood vulture. He was shocked to discover that the demon blood vulture's eyes had turned completely golden. A faint golden line appeared on all of its tail feathers. Its appearance seemed to have changed slightly. "What is this?" "Many thanks for Master's help. My mutated bloodline seems to have improved. I feel like I'm reverting to my ancestors. Right now, my strength is 50% higher than 10 days ago." Xiao Qin smiled and said, "Your improvement is even greater than mine. I don't dare to compare myself to Master." The demon blood vulture now submitted to Xiao Qin. No matter how cocky it was, it did not dare to appear before Xiao Qin. Just at this moment, Xiao Qin's expression changed slightly. He looked at the wasteland under his feet and muttered, "Strange. Why do I feel like the ground is moving up and down like waves?" "No, Master?" Chapter 2138. After comprehending all things rejoicing together, Xiao Qin felt like he gained a new ability that allowed him to see through the essence of all things. However, Xiao Qin grasped martial and soul as one, allowing him to bring out more than 100% of his strength without any worries. The demon blood vulture reminded Xiao Qin. Then, the wind blew on the ashes of the painting, revealing a scarlet light. Just as Xiao Qin felt uncertain, the blood flowed into Xiao Qin's palm. His palm immediately gave off a scarlet light, and images of mountains, rivers, white clouds, and wild cranes flashed in his mind. Xiao Qin saw through the underground in a nearly transparent manner. Aside from the flame veins, he even saw several hidden ores and divine materials. In that instant, Xiao Qin saw through the entire ice-fire wasteland. The ground turned transparent in his eyes. Xiao Qin frowned slightly as he bent over and touched the ground with one hand. "Does Senior Shimu know about this?" When the ashes completely dissipated, a drop of blood was revealed. Strange? Xiao Qin thought for a while. He could take this opportunity to absorb it and nurture his heavenly snow divine flame and universe origin true flame. How cold! If I did not have the alloy battle armor to protect me, I would have committed a great taboo by coming down like this. As Xiao Qin muttered to himself, he raised his eyebrows and sighed softly. The ground rippled like waves in his eyes again. After a while, Xiao Qin let go. He had already recorded a map in his mind. His veritable essence energy surged and scattered the ice. Xiao Qin felt some lingering fear. He had only descended 10 kilometers, and he had not gone far before he ran into a problem. Just this point alone allowed him to surpass many half-step sovereign emperors. Whoosh! Right now, Xiao Qin revealed an expression of joy. It turned out that the ice continent of the ice-fire wasteland contained 18 crisscrossing flame veins. Blood represented hatred, anger, and pain, which often brought about negative emotions. However, the feeling that this drop of blood brought about was very strange, but not evil. When the blood merged with his palm and all the images disappeared from his mind, a saber technique appeared in Xiao Qin's mind, all things rejoicing together. The deeper one went, the harder the ice became. After reaching a depth of 10,000 meters, the hardness of the underground ice was comparable to divine materials. Even an imperial king expert would find it difficult to force their way through. The same scene appeared twice. Even if it was really a hallucination, there was definitely something strange about it. As a crack appeared on the ground, Xiao Qin jumped down without hesitation. For ordinary martial artists, being able to display 80% of their strength was already extremely impressive. Those who could display 100% were few and far between. The alloy battle armor was now at 2-star. Raising the alloy battle armor's star rank was an extremely arduous task. Xiao Qin needed a vast amount of divine materials. Then, he had to hand the gloves to the Heavenly Alliance to use a secret method to refine them. After carefully comprehending the fiendish saber inheritance, Xiao Qin collected his thoughts and looked at his left hand. In addition to martial and spirit as one, and my many trump cards, my true strength right now, I should be between a half-step sovereign emperor and a false emperor. However, I have never seen a true false emperor before, so it is not easy to test my true strength. The instant Xiao Qin raised his hand, the various mysterious phenomena vanished. The ice-fire wasteland returned to normal in Xiao Qin's eyes. As Xiao Qin watched, One of the 9 stars around the divine characters lit up when the blood stopped flowing. Why did the painting burn? It was not just Xiao Chen who was comprehending it. The mountains and rivers in the painting also improved rapidly. Xiao Chen suddenly startled awake. All things had spirit. The mountains and rivers in the painting that Senior Shimu gave him all turned into fiends. Shimu was the one who gave Xiao Chen the painting. Clearly, the fiend blood had such a miraculous effect because of Senior Shimu's opportunity. Many cracks immediately appeared in the ground. Xiao Chen's gentle palm strike shook the wasteland for 5,000 kilometers around, as terrifying as an earthquake. The ice-fire wasteland had existed for many epochs. It was very normal for true divine materials to be born there. Clearly, the wasteland did not really move like waves. The ground was still flat. Xiao Chen closed his eyes and touched the ground with one hand. The scarlet divine characters on the back of his right glove suddenly released a red light that seeped into the ground. Right now, the only problem was how to enter the ice-fire wastelands underground. Whoosh! Did I see wrong? I vaguely obtained a fiendish saber inheritance. Xiao Chen placed his right hand on the ground again and activated the scarlet divine characters. A wondrous scene appeared again. Senior Shimu truly lives up to his reputation. Under the wasteland made of ice, there were 18 flames that looked like blood vessels, crisscrossing in the underground, forming a complicated network. It's here. However, the painting could no longer support these creatures. So, it burned up, leaving only this drop of fiend blood. This place was a weak node in the complex underground. A single move would cause the entire body to move. There would always be weak points in the vast ice-fire wasteland. As long as one found the weak points and connected them together, one could enter the underground. Master, what is that? A bright light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. After some thought, he said, "Now that I am a peak sovereign personage and comprehended this fiendish saber, all things rejoicing together, a heaven-defying sovereign personage is no longer a match for me. My cultivation is already close to that of a half-step sovereign emperor. I just have not merged my Tao domain and soul energy to form a divine seal." Xiao Chen needed to figure out what was going on with this drop of fiend blood. What a mysterious feeling! Xiao Chen looked carefully and saw that the ground had indeed not moved. He could not help finding it strange. What was going on? Xiao Chen had already asked around about Shi Mu in the Holy Domain's divine capital. He knew that this senior was an extremely strong foe god. Shi Mu's saber techniques were superb. He could be considered the peak of peak among peak foe god bladesmen. On the contrary, there was a trace of gentleness that did not repel him. Xiao Chen felt startled. He had never experienced such a thing before. It looked like he had to meet Senior Shimu after he returned. There was a total of 9 grades of primal chaos level flames. Right now, Xiao Chen's Heavenly Snow Divine Flame and Universe Origin True Flame had both reached rank 5. After looking around to verify his surroundings, Xiao Chen coldly smacked the ground with his palm. This is the blood of the legendary mountain and river spirits. Xiao Chen could bring out more than 100% of his strength only under special conditions or with the help of medicinal pills. He could not avoid the side effect. No wonder it is called the ice-fire wasteland. Perhaps the true core of this continent is the 18 yin-yang flame veins. After thousands or tens of thousands of years, they form this ice-fire wasteland. The ground is the ice continent, and the sky is empty with snowflakes made of flames. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao Chen released his hand and his figure flashed. Then, he arrived at a seemingly ordinary spot. This immediately startled Xiao Chen. His alloy battle armor had already reached 2-star. What was the origin of this drop of blood left behind after the painting burned? Crack, crack. However, Xiao Chen had used the divine characters dyed red by the fiend blood to see through the entire ice-fire wasteland. To him, this was not too difficult. Furthermore, this inheritance was even stronger than Lubinwei's, as Xiao Chun had obtained a drop of fiend blood, perfectly obtaining his unique inheritance. The fluctuations that Xiao Chun saw earlier were actually flame energy surging and expanding underground. That energy was extremely horrifying. It felt like it could topple the entire ice-fire wasteland at any moment, shattering it. However, a drop of fiend blood actually raised the alloy battle armor by 1 grade. In the Holy Domain's divine capital, one needed to spend large amounts of faux god coins to exchange for all sorts of flames to raise the grade of a flame. However, Xiao Qin grasped martial and soul as one, merging the will of soul and the will of martial Dao. He could easily bring out 100% of his combat prowess. With some effort, he could bring out 120%, even 150% of his strength. However, since Xiao Chen was already here, there was no reason for him to shrink back. However, Xiao Chen did not pay attention to all this. He only focused on finding the weak spots underground. That drop of blood merged with Xiao Chen's palm. Then, the Heavenly Alliance's insignia, formed by 7 pieces of gold, started flowing like blood on the back of his alloy battle armor. Earlier, Xiao Chun had sensed that these 18 flame veins were yin and yang. 9 flame veins represented extreme cold, and the other 9 were contradictory extreme heat. When Xiao Chun landed, a chill assaulted him from all directions. A layer of frost covered the alloy battle armor. With every few steps, the frost turned into ice, slowing Xiao Chen's movements somewhat. Crack! Unexpectedly, the painting that fiendish saber Shi Mu gave Xiao Chen hid a strange drop of blood. Chapter 2139. The earlier palm strike struck the node of this 50 kilometers of desolate plain, shaking the ground and creating large cracks. After he landed, he found himself in front of a newly formed underground tunnel. Then, according to his memory, Xiao Chun found this tunnel. According to his memory, Xiao Chun advanced through the many branches of the underground ice tunnel. Xiao Chun moved very slowly. As it was too cold, he had to stop occasionally to remove the ice from his alloy battle armor. 1 hour later, a dead end appeared in front of Xiao Chun, blocked by a thick layer of ice. At this depth, the underground ice was already as hard as divine material. Logically speaking, it should be very hard to break. However, if Xiao Chun did not go the wrong way, the ice wall in front should be a weak spot. Xiao Chun soared into the air and punched. He immediately felt his palm go numb, which was very uncomfortable. The ice blocking the way only left a faint mark, not much of a ripple. Did I remember wrongly? Xiao Chen let out a soft cry of surprise. Then, he prepared to throw another punch. Kasie! Kasie! Cracks appeared in the ice wall in front. Then, it exploded with a loud bang. Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong. He crossed his arms in front of him, and the formation in the alloy battle armor activated automatically, forming a lightning shield in front of him. Pa! However, it was still too late. Pa! The impact of the explosion instantly knocked Xiao Chen into the air. The entire underground once again shook violently. The ice above their heads seemed to be swaying as well, and pieces of ice and rocks kept falling off. Xiao Chen relaxed his hands and took a look. Then, his expression changed slightly as he executed the Divine Firmament 9 variations. Like a sudden clap of thunder, he dashed towards the opened passageway in front of him. Just as he disappeared, a figure appeared in front of him. The instant he disappeared, the ice wall behind him collapsed. When Xiao Chen looked back, the path he had come in was completely blocked. The terrain changed again. It will probably be difficult to turn back now. When Xiao Chen jumped down, he did not think too much about it. Now, he discovered that it was indeed a problem. I should continue. As long as I can benefit the Heavenly Snow Divine Flame and the Universe Origin True Flame, it will all be worth it. Following the route in his memory, Xiao Chen broke through the weak points one by one and connected them together, going deeper and deeper. The terrain fluctuated for a few times. The fighters who were training above ice and snow wilderness were all scared and didn't know what had happened. Found it! After a few twists and turns, Xiao Chen finally found a flame vein after walking underground for 6 hours. When Xiao Chen lowered his head and looked down, the surging flame vein was pure and dense. It was like a surging river flowing continuously. Even though Xiao Chen was 10,000 li high up in the sky, he could still feel the surging heat waves assaulting his face. Fortunately, he had alloy battle armor. Alloy was different from other divine materials, and it could not withstand heat. If the armor was made of other divine materials, even a postnatal divine body wouldn't be able to withstand it. Not only that, but the alloy war armor also had a very good heat insulation effect, greatly reducing the pressure on him. Such pure flame energy! Pleasant surprise filled Xiao Chen's eyes. He could not truly feel it when he was above ground. However, when he observed it up close, Xiao Chen knew that he had picked up a treasure. As long as Xiao Chen could absorb a tenth of the flame in this flame vein, his universe origin true flame would probably immediately advance to rank 6. That would save him at least 100,000 faux god coins. As Xiao Chen stood above, his emotions fluctuated. He still felt like he was dreaming. He really had to thank the person controlling the mastiff to kill him. If not for that person, how could he have comprehended all things rejoicing together? How could he have comprehended the painting and obtained that drop of fiend blood? Otherwise, without the help of the fiend blood, Xiao Chen would not dare to say that he was a faux god. No matter how strong a divine vein realm sovereign emperor was, it would take at least 100 years to reach this place. Of course, it was more likely that they could not sense the 18 flame veins under the ice-fire wasteland. Boom! Xiao Chen opened his palm, and a clump of golden flame appeared. This was the universe origin true flame's origin flame, the heavenly flame that he obtained in the Kunlun realm. Go! Xiao Chen gently pushed, and this clump of origin flame slowly descended, hovering above the flame vein. The flame vein surged endlessly like a gushing river. Xiao Chen sat down cross-legged, and his soul energy surged. Immediately, the origin flame spun endlessly. A suction force was emitted, and a loud sound rang out. Waves of fire surged up from the flame vein below, rushing towards the origin flame. The primordial Trufire's origin flame was like a cultivator-absorbing source liquid. It excitedly absorbed and refined the flames of the flame vein below. Xiao Chen closed his eyes and circulated his energy, unhurriedly controlling the universe origin true flame's origin flame to absorb and refine the flame in the flame vein below. How slow! 1 hour later, Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes. The flame vein was vast and boundless. It was like the sea. Although the origin flame absorbed it quickly, it was still insignificant. At this rate, Xiao Chen would need to spend 2 or 3 years before he could absorb a tenth of this flame vein. No, I can't wait that long. Determination flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. Then, he stood up and looked at the flame vein, entering deep thought. The flame vein surged and surged nonstop. Where was it heading? Are the other flame veins also surging endlessly, gathering in the same direction? If I can find the location where these flame veins gather, I can save a lot of effort. However, just this one flame vein was somewhat unbearable. How horrifying would the location where 18 flame veins gathered be? Go for it. After hesitating for only a second, Xiao Chen made up his mind. He leaped up and withdrew the universe origin true flame's origin flame into his body, then jumped into the flame vein. Whoosh! The flame vein surged at least 10 times faster than Xiao Chen's movement technique. Amid the surging flame, Xiao Chen used his veritable essence energy to fully activate the alloy battle armor, allowing himself to avoid being swallowed up by the flame vein. That was close. Fortunately, my alloy battle armor has reached 2-star. Otherwise, I would not have been able to endure it. Using the alloy battle armor, Xiao Chen barely managed to endure the flame vein's torrent. Then, he heaved a sigh of relief. All that remained was to follow the flow of the flame vein and enter the place where the 18 flame veins gathered. As time passed, Xiao Chen found it increasingly unbearable. Even with the alloy battle armor protecting him, he could not withstand it. Even with the alloy battle armor, his physical body was already bright red, looking like it was about to be cooked. Xiao Chen knew that he was getting closer to the other flame veins. The greatest challenge would be when the other flame veins gathered. The 18 flame veins were split into yin and yang. 9 were extreme yin and 9 were extreme yang. They crisscrossed, appearing complicated and ever-changing. "Master, your alloy battle armor seems to be softening," the demon blood vulture's voice rang out in Xiao Chen's mind. When he looked carefully, he saw that the alloy battle armor was indeed slowly softening. Such a discovery immediately flustered Xiao Chen. This was the alloy battle armor's self-protection method. If the alloy battle armor could not endure it in the end, it would liquefy and flow back into the gloves. At that time, Xiao Chen would be in big trouble. What should I do? Without the protection of the alloy battle armor, I will melt in less than 7 minutes in this flame vein. Even if the acquired divine body awakened once, it was still a body of flesh and blood. Unless one was a true pure-blooded true dragon, one would not be able to endure such heat waves. The rate at which the alloy battle armor softened suddenly increased. This startled Xiao Chen. "Oh no. I'm about to reach the place where the 18 flame veins gather. It's over. I'm going to die in this damn place." The alloy battle armor softened into a silver liquid and slowly flowed back into the gloves. However, Xiao Chen still headed for the flame veins involuntarily. The 18 flame veins that swept through the entire ice-fire wasteland gathered here. Just one flame vein was already somewhat unbearable for Xiao Chen. Now, he was at the place where the 18 flame veins gathered and had lost the protection of the alloy battle armor. How could he survive? With this thought, Xiao Chen felt that his life would end here. His physical body grew hotter. Xiao Chen's consciousness turned blurry from the roasting, and his breathing became weak. In his daze, Xiao Chen's physical body sank continuously. Suddenly, a loud sound rang out. Xiao Chen understood that the 18 flame veins had completely gathered together. Then, he fainted. In his daze, Xiao Chen opened his eyes and discovered that he was at the bottom of a lake. His physical body was swimming slowly. "I'm not dead. 9 flame veins were about to roast me to death. To think that 18 flame veins gathered and did not kill me on the spot. As far as the eye could see, it was actually a clear lake. Am I dead or alive? Why am I hallucinating? The place where the 18 flame veins gathered is actually a lake?" Chapter 2140. Illusion? Or reality? The ice-fire wasteland, where the 18 flame veins gathered, was actually a clear lake. The light and shadow were mottled, and the lake water was distorted. It was both a dream and an illusion. Xiao Chen was bewildered. For a moment, he didn't know whether he was dead or alive. Feeling confused, Xiao Chen suddenly discovered that the little demonic chi veritable essence energy and spiritual energy veritable essence energy in his body were circulating on their own, forming a weak Taiji force field around him. A Taiji diagram even appeared under his feet. He didn't die. Xiao Chen was sure that he wasn't dead. Everything he saw was real and not an illusion. Slowly calming down, Zhang Xian looked around and fell into deep thought. This lake is not water in the ordinary sense, Xiao Chen suddenly understood. 9 flame veins were extreme yin, and 9 flame veins were extreme yang. The place where yin and yang met was actually a stretch of primal chaos. In reality, it contained chaotic force, making it extremely dangerous. If an ordinary person tried to sneak in recklessly, they would definitely die. His yin and yang would definitely be reversed, and he would not be able to control everything about his body. In the best-case scenario, he would suffer from cultivation deviation. In the worst-case scenario, he would die within the chaotic flame vein. The only reason he could survive was because of the Taiji force field. Xiao Chen separated the flame veins, which were in a state of primal chaos, into yin and yang. Then, he found a place where the 18 flame veins gathered. I see. Xiao Chen had a look of realization. The scene before him was an eye-opener. When the 18 flame veins gathered, the primal chaos it produced was actually clear lake water. No one else would be able to imagine this, let alone enjoy the scenery as calmly as he did. Danger lurked everywhere in the primal chaos. One option was to forcefully break through and reach the faux god realm. Otherwise, only Xiao Chen could do it, breaking through force with skill and separating yin and yang, balancing the 9 extreme yin flame veins and 9 extreme yang flame veins. Good chance. Here, I can cultivate the universe origin true flame and the heavenly snow divine flame at the same time. Moreover, I can comprehend the Tao here and increase my cultivation. It's equivalent to killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Xiao Chen calmly analyzed in his heart. One who survives a great disaster is bound to have good fortune later on. Swoosh. He sat cross-legged and placed his hands on his knees, palms facing the sky. In the next moment, the heavenly snow divine flame's origin flame in his left hand burned, and the universe origin true flame's origin flame appeared in his right hand. The 2 primal chaos grade flames began to absorb the yin-attributed and yang-attributed flames in the lake at the same time. The Tai Chi diagram beneath them gradually became clearer. As the flame in Xiao Chen's palm grew stronger, the Taiji diagram beneath him gave off a faint light that looked solid. Xiao Chen closed his eyes. At some point in time, 2 balls of origin source appeared in his palm. As if it had come to life, it swam down agilely like a fish. The flame veins chased each other in the water, forming an even more realistic Taiji force field that frenziedly absorbed the flame veins' essence. After an unknown period of time, sparks appeared at the bottom of the clear lake. These sparks were like stars shining at the bottom of the water. When it saw Xiao Chen, it swam toward him like a moth flying into a flame. They were densely packed and layered upon one another. Xiao Chen was completely unaware that he was comprehending the Tao at the bottom of the lake and had sunk into a rather profound state. All the injuries on his body had recovered, and his condition was like that of a baby in his mother's womb. It was indescribably mysterious. The ice-fire wasteland was divided into the periphery, the inner area, and the core. The periphery occupied half of the area. Previously, Xiao Chen had been hunting mastiffs in the periphery. People called him the dog-killing mad demon, one of the tyrants of the periphery. The inner area of the ice-fire wasteland was a mysterious frost forest. Many ice crystals wrapped in silver grew there. These ice crystals looked like crystals, transparent and crystalline. Their entire bodies were covered in white snow, giving them an ancient and heavy feel. Every tree was at least 10,000 years old. Many crafty and strong faux beasts lived in them. Half-step sovereign emperor experts or other sovereign personages who dared to take risks would come here for experiential training. Experiential training here was much more dangerous than in the periphery. One could die at any moment. Although the inner area was dangerous, most people understood it or had occasionally gone in for experiential training. However, the core of the ice-fire wasteland was extremely mysterious. Many people did not even know what the core looked like. Only the true experts among sovereign personages dared to venture deep into the core and take the risk. On this day, a group of people arrived at the periphery of the ice-fire wasteland's core. These were the Universe Origin sect disciples who mocked Xiao Chen for killing dogs back then. All of them had extraordinary appearances, standing out from the crowd. The leader, Feng Xiaobai, looked the most elegant. "Senior Brother Feng, we have arrived." This group of people exuded strong killing qi. Clearly, they had experienced many dangerous battles here. Feng Xiaobai remained silent as he looked to the front. A vast and boundless sea of fire lay before him. Outsiders would not be able to imagine that the center of this continent made of ice was actually an extremely horrifying sea of fire. The sea of fire surged, alternating between hot and cold, looking extremely strange. The surging heat materialized many mysterious phenomena. Just a wave surging over was equivalent to a peak strike from a half-step sovereign emperor. However, this was not the most terrifying thing. The scariest thing was that the sea of fire had yet to separate yin and yang. It was filled with primal chaos, unfathomable and impossible to deal with. Feng Xiaobai showed an extremely cautious expression as he faced this sea of fire. Needless to say, the other disciples were even more cautious. Most of the universe origin sect disciples were skilled with the fire Dao. Many of them even comprehended the fire Dao domain. But it was useless. In this sea of flames, yin and yang had yet to be separated, and everything was chaotic. The slightest carelessness would cause one to burn while playing with fire. Thus, they had to be even more careful than those who were not proficient in the Tao of fire. It looks like the people of the profound Heaven Holy Land, the Hidden Spirit Temple, and the Bushan Palace are one step ahead of us. After looking around, Feng Xiaobai muttered to himself as he looked at the sea of fire. Senior Martial Brother, don't worry. The Ice-Fire Divine Origin won't be born anytime soon. It's useless even if they go. Feng Xiaobai said softly, I'm not worried about that. I'm just afraid that these people will work together in advance. Never mind. Let's take out the yin-yang flame parrying pearl and enter as well. At this moment, Feng Xiaobai thought of having the alloy battle armor again. The group of people took out their fire-repelling pearls and placed them in their mouth. Immediately, a bright and dark-colored enchantment appeared around them. So. With the yin-yang fire parrying pearl, the few of them were able to step into the sea of fire without worry. Otherwise, staying in there for too long would be suicide. It was the same for the other super forces. They all had similar secret treasures. Otherwise, in this sea of fire, not to mention preserving one's strength, even surviving would be a problem. As the sea of fire surged, the group advanced cautiously. Although there was no rush to obtain the Ice-Fire Divine Origin, the other three superfactions had already taken the lead. They could not delay any longer. Feng Xiaobai's strength was outstanding, so he led the way. Occasionally, huge waves surged over. The surging flames looked horrifying, looking like they would swallow up the world. They were like the ferocious maw of a huge void beast. Bang! Every time a fierce wave surged over, Feng Xiaobai did not dodge. He simply threw a palm strike with a cold expression. The originally gentle, elegant, and handsome Feng Xiaobai seemed like a completely different person when he attacked. He was like a wild beast, his aura bursting out as he threw a palm strike. The palm wind containing the Tao roared ferociously, erupting with thousands of light images. The light images were like swords, as resplendent as the sun. They forcefully split the fierce waves, not dodging at all. Senior brother, junior brother Lu can't hold on any longer. When Feng Xiaobai looked back, he saw that a disciple had accidentally cracked his fire-parrying pearl. When the primal chaos flames invaded the disciple, he immediately found it extremely unbearable, unable to advance or retreat. Feng Xiaobai only glanced at the disciple before saying indifferently, "End your own life." That disciple immediately showed an anxious expression. "Senior brother, save me. You got careless and you want me to save you? If I save you now, how are you going to fight the others when we reach Flame Island?" Feng Xiaobai did not have any intention of saving that disciple. He said indifferently, "If you are not following, then just accompany him." The others immediately felt very anxious. They ignored their companion, whose fire-parrying pearl had been broken, and quickly followed Feng Xiaobai. "Senior brother! Senior brother!" That person's voice sounded very shrill, flustering the others. However, Feng Xiaobai's expression did not change at all. These people risked following him because they wanted to obtain the Ice-Fire Divine Origin and obtain the corresponding benefit. Since that was the case, they should know to bear the risks themselves. After half a day, Fang Xiaobai used another palm strike to split the fierce wave. The indistinct figures of some people appeared at the limits of his vision amid the heat waves. We are almost there. Fang Xiaobai put in more effort and increased his speed. Afterimages appeared behind him. The afterimages were like fire, burning fiercely like intense flames. Soon, the scene at the limits of his vision appeared before Fang Xiaobai. Many average-sized islands appeared in front. When he counted them, there were 18 of them. Technically, it would be more appropriate to call them submerged reef. This was because these islands only had a radius of 100 meters. The smaller ones were only 10 meters wide. However, these submerged reefs were very important to these people. Yin and Yang were everywhere in the primal chaos flame sea. There was no pattern to it. It would be extreme Yin at one moment and extreme Yang at another, making it exceptionally uncomfortable. Only the submerged reefs had fixed Yin and Yang, either extreme Yin or extreme Yang. Only by stepping on the submerged reefs could one truly gain a foothold. At this moment, many people occupied the various islands. When these people saw Fang Xiaobai appear, their expressions changed at the same time. In the faux god world, reaching sovereign emperor meant that one's cultivation had reached perfection, and one needed to leave. After the many old people left, Fang Xiaobai could be said to be the leader of the universe origin sex group. Everyone had experienced Fang Xiaobai's strength long ago. His ruthlessness inspired fear. After Fang Xiaobai stood still, he casually glanced around, and his face immediately sank. Whoosh! The other universe origin sect disciples behind Fang Xiaobai slowly caught up. When they saw this, they immediately cursed. 18 submerged reefs of various sizes were occupied. The people of the profound Heaven Holy Land, Bushan Palace, and the Hidden Spirit Temple occupied all 18 submerged reefs, not leaving a single one for the universe origin sect. Indeed, these people had reached an agreement in advance. The thing that Xiao Chen worried about the most happened. Fang Xiaobai showed a cold expression as he gently flung his sleeves. He said, "Everyone, are you going to give up some islands on your own initiative, or do you want this Fang to make a move and start a massacre?" Chapter 2141. Will everyone take the initiative to give up some islands, or will this Fang make a move and start a massacre? Fang Xiaobai's words sounded very threatening. At this moment, the three clans each occupied 6 of the 18 submerged reef. They had rested for many days, building up their strength. Compared to the travel-worn Fang Xiaobai and the others, who rushed over, they were in much better condition. In reality, even if Fang Xiaobai and the others were in perfect condition, the leaders of the other 3 clans would not fear them. However, this Fang Xiaobai was a ruthless person. When he attacked, he did not hold back. Once Fang Xiaobai set his sights on someone, he would fight to the death. He was as difficult to deal with as a madman, giving others a headache. Aside from Fang Xiaobai, the others also saw that the Universe Origin sect had sent several experts. The 2 people beside Fang Xiaobai were the top 10 Universe Origin sect disciples in the faux god world. They were half-step sovereign emperors. Their Dao domains merged with their souls and formed divine seals. The rest were heaven-defying sovereign personages. Without exception, they were all elite. With the 3 clans working together, they could suppress the other side. However, if a fight broke out, it would be problematic. Someone might even die. The leaders of the profound Heaven Holy Land, Bushan Palace, and the Hidden Spirit Temple discussed with each other and gave up 3 islands. When Fang Xiaobai saw the situation, he snorted coldly and did not say anything more. Obtaining 3 islands was already pretty good. After all, his side had arrived late, so he could not blame others. If a fight really broke out, aside from Fang Xiaobai and his 2 half-step Sovereign Emperor Junior brothers, the others would not have a good ending. With the 3 clans working together, they could crush them. Everyone, get on the island and recover your strength first. Whoosh! After Fang Xiaobai and the others landed on the island, they immediately took out the yin-yang fire parting pearls. Then, they sat down cross-legged and quickly recovered the veritable essence energy they exhausted along the way. At the same time, they warily watched the other three clans. Two people stood side by side on the largest island occupied by the Bushan Palace. One person wore fluttering white robes and had a scarlet mark on his forehead, giving off a cold and sinister aura. The other person wore azure and showed off his sharpness, appearing unruly and unruly. One of these two was by Yunfei, the White Marsh Beast Empire's by Clan Young Master. The other was the Hound Lion Empire's Crown Prince, Xiahozun. Speaking of which, it was quite a coincidence. The two of them had some grudges with Xiao Chen, and they both appeared in the Void God realm. Xiahozun looked at Fang Xiaobai, and a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He said sullenly, "This Fang Xiaobai is really arrogant and despotic. He is not a royal court disciple of the Tianwu dynasty, yet he dares to be so unbridled before us." Bai Yunfei said indifferently, "Although he is not a member of the royal family, the Fang clan of the Tianwu dynasty is the head of the four great clans. Currently, the clan head is conferred the title of Prince Jin. More importantly, the Fang family's position in the primordial sect is firm. Their patriarch is one of the 8 flame protectors of the primordial sect. His status is not much lower than that of the royal family's disciples." "Compared to the two of us?" Xiahozun said disdainfully. Bai Yunfei said after some thought, "It's hard to say. The crucial thing is that the other two clans might not be on the same side as us. That Mu Yunju is not someone to offend. If we fight rashly and he sneak attacks us, all our efforts will be for naught. That Baldi Yuanzhen is not someone to be trifled with." The leaders of the 4 super forces were all scheming people. They did not trust each other too much. Everyone came for the Ice-Fire Divine Origin. However, there was only one Ice-Fire Divine Origin. At that time, they would definitely fight over it. Of the 18 submerged reefs, 9 were extreme yin and 9 extreme yang, forming a circle in the vast flame sea. This place was the core of the entire ice-fire wasteland. The ice-fire divine origin was born here. Senior Brother Mu? What exactly is this ice-fire divine origin? A disciple on the profound Heaven Holy Land's submerged reef asked Mu Yunju. Mu Yunju looked around and replied softly, "The ice-fire divine origin is similar to the origin liquid we exchanged for in the Holy Domain's divine capital. However, it is of a much higher grade. It can be said to be the embodiment of the entire ice-fire wasteland's essence. It is born only once every 3 years. Compared to ordinary origin liquid, its quality is 10 times, even 100 times, or even 1,000 times higher. More importantly, origin liquid does not have an attribute. However, this ice-fire divine origin contains an attribute. If you cultivate one of the great Tao in it, the wondrous effects you will obtain are simply indescribable. There was once a person who instantly broke through the bottleneck of his Tao domain after refining one of the divine origin. That was equivalent to 10 years of bitter cultivation. Do you think it is precious or not? Furthermore, it comes from the same source as ice and fire. When two completely contradictory attributes are combined, it is something worth studying in the first place. Even if you do not use it, you can sell it to a faux god expert and obtain boundless benefit." The person who asked the question immediately felt an irrepressible desire. Unexpectedly, the ice-fire divine origin was such a wondrous item with a startling value. If it were not startling, it would not have attracted the experts of the 4 super factions. Mu Yunju remained rather calm. He said seriously, "Don't overthink. The people from the Universe Origin sect, Bushan Palace, and the Hidden Spirit Temple are not easy to deal with. It is hard to say whether they can obtain the ice-fire divine origin or not." As Mu Yunju spoke, he glanced at Bai Yunfei, deep fear flashing in his eyes. If Fang Xiaobai was a mad dog that no one dared to offend, then this Bai Yunfei was a venomous snake. Even sovereign emperors feared his thousand-taste red. The poison could penetrate deep into the soul. If one was not careful, one would be consigned to eternal damnation. Then, Mu Yunju looked at the hidden spirit temple's monk. All of them looked benevolent. However, he knew that they were not kind people. In this vast flame sea, the monks who cultivated the Buddhist sect's indestructible iron body had the greatest advantage in terms of their physical bodies. The leaders of the 4 factions all harbored strange thoughts. They all feared each other, thinking of how to snatch the ice-fire divine origin that was about to appear. Rumble! Suddenly, the 18 submerged reefs started shaking. 18 pillars of fire soared into the sky from the surrounding sea of fire. The fiery light was as dazzling as mercury. After they soared into the sky, they spread out like fireworks. The sky immediately looked very beautiful, like thousands of flowers blooming. Fang Xiaobai, Xiahozun, Mu Yunju, and the hidden spirit temple's Yuanzhen all showed joy on their faces. Then, they turned extremely grave. After waiting for 10 days, this sunny day has finally arrived. The hidden spirit temple's Yuanzhen said softly as he looked at the beautiful sky. A sunny day was a sign of the ice-fire divine origin's birth. With a sunny day, the ice-fire divine origin would not be far from appearing. Everyone, be careful. If the flames that fall later are not small, you might lose your life. In the great 1,000 realms, anyone who was overly beautiful would avoid it. This sunny day was no exception. Whoosh! 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 As the fireworks fell, the disciples of the 4 superfactions started executing their various means, either dodging or forcibly scattering the falling fireworks. A loud sound immediately erupted. An inconspicuous wisp of flame suddenly appeared. The seemingly unremarkable clump of flames actually rivaled the peak strike of a half-step sovereign emperor. Some of them even surpassed it. Of the 4 superfactions, the hidden spirit temple's monks were the most relaxed. These monks all cultivated the Buddhist sect's indestructible iron body cultivation technique. The advantage of their physical bodies was evident. They could even endure this flame head-on without much problem. Whoosh! The fireworks slowly scattered, and gurgling sounds came from the center of the 18 submerged reef. Closely following that, a beam of light soared into the sky and scattered the sunny day. It's coming, Fang Xiaobai said after some thought, raising his guard to the highest. The ice-fire divine origin was about to be born. At this moment, no one could remain calm. The surrounding disciples all showed grave expressions. Their auras had already started clashing in secret, causing the flame sea to surge and roar. Waves surged up and down, rising and falling. All sorts of terrifying mysterious phenomena appeared in the surroundings. However, the group remained unmoved, showing calm expressions. Even when the flame waves surged over like ferocious beasts, they did not move at all, only staring at the sea region where the pillar of light was. It seemed like something was slowly rising in the flaming sea region, bathed in the golden pillar of light. Soon, this item charged out of the flame sea, revealing a corner. It was a budding lotus flower. The 2 colored flames and leaves were wrapped together in layers, flickering with 2 colored flowing lights, attracting people's wild and fanciful thoughts. To think that there are 360 lotus leaves. The ice-fire divine origin that is born this time is probably the most in the past 1,000 years. The previous time the ice-fire divine origin was born, there were less than 100 lotus leaves. That was already very rare. This time, there are 360 lotus leaves. This is probably the limit of what the ice-fire wasteland can produce. There is nothing stronger than this. After seeing the number of lotus leaves, Mu Yunju and the others became utterly excited, their hearts thumping wildly. Their eyes flickered with a fiery light, filled with desire. The universe origin sect's Fang Xiaobai thought coldly, to think that it is the most in the past 1,000 years. I have to obtain this ice-fire divine origin. After obtaining the fire divine origin, my universe origin true flame will definitely advance from rank 6 to rank 7. While Feng Xiaobai thought this, the others were thinking the same. After going through so much trouble to come to this dangerous flame sea, they actually found the best ice-fire divine origin in the past 1,000 years. No one was willing to hand it over. Everyone was determined to obtain it. The lotus petals fell off one by one, and the ice-fire divine origin was about to reveal itself. Everyone held their breath at this moment. However, when all the lotus petals fell off, a person sat cross-legged on a lotus platform amid the bright light. Feng Xiaobai swallowed back the words, attack, that he was about to say, completely flabbergasted. What the heck? Where is the ice-fire divine origin? It was not just Feng Xiaobai. Anyone who saw a person sitting on the lotus that gave birth to the divine origin would be flabbergasted, their brains short-circuiting. Chapter 2142. What's going on? Based on the pattern of the past, shouldn't the ice-fire divine origin appear when the lotus flower bloomed? Why is there a person? Everyone was stunned. They could not understand what was going on. Where's the ice-fire divine origin? Who can tell me what's going on? Heavens! Why is there a person living in the lotus flower? This feeling was driving them crazy. Originally, there were 360 lotus petals. The ice-fire divine origin that blossomed should have been the greatest in the past 1,000 years. Feng Xiaobai and the others were already incredibly excited, waiting for the moment the lotus flower bloomed to take action. However, that was not the case at all. Their moods immediately changed. Senior Brother Feng. He is the dog-killing mad demon, the Heavenly Alliance's Xiao Qin. Someone beside Feng Xiaobai shouted as he pointed at Xiao Qin after recognizing him. Bai Yunfei and Xiahou Zun exchanged glances. The two knew that Xiao Qin had joined the Heavenly Alliance, and that he was in the Holy Domain's divine capital. However, they did not care about him. After more than a year, Xiao Qin had vanished without a trace. No one cared about breaking the Trial Tower's record. Why is this fellow here? Xiahou Zun asked, feeling suspicious. Of course, Bai Yunfei could not explain it. No matter how hard he thought, he could not figure out how Xiao Qin came out of the lotus flower. We just need to capture him and ask him clearly, Bai Yunfei said indifferently. Back then, when Xiao Qin escaped from his hands in Cloud Water Marsh, he had embarrassed himself before the Dragon God Crown Prince. Unexpectedly, they met again in such a manner. Xiahou Zun said indifferently, that's true. We just need to capture him and interrogate him. This way we can settle old and new grudges together. On the lotus platform, Xiao Qin opened his eyes, feeling warm all over. As he looked around, his heart skipped a beat, filled with doubt and confusion. He had been cultivating and comprehending the Tao in the water, refining the universe origin true flame and the heavenly snow divine flame at the same time. He found it boundlessly profound, forgetting about everything else. The moment he opened his eyes, he found himself in this place. He could not understand it. Xiao Qin felt very warm and comfortable. Just as he was about to take a closer look, he suddenly heard the sound of wind. It was Xiahou Zun making the first move. Xiao Qin ruthlessly threw a palm strike at Xiao Qin. This palm was boundlessly domineering and contained a powerful aura of the Great Path. Its body was supported by the might of the Great Path, and it was as heavy as a mountain and indestructible. The seemingly ordinary palm strike had, in fact, already unleashed its greatest power in a situation where it was caught off guard. Xiao Qin opened his eyes and did not understand what was going on. He reflexively threw a palm strike. Boom! A Taiji diagram appeared under the lotus platform. When the two palms clashed, a Taiji diagram appeared. Catching Xiahou Zun off guard, Xiahou Zun, who was charging over, was immediately blown away. On, xiao xiao on, he, xiao xiao chen on tian. True, xiao xiao on, xiao xiao on. Fire, true, on xiao is xiao on he, comma, this stunned Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin, who had just advanced from great perfection sovereign personage to peak sovereign personage, immediately reached peak consummation. Xiao Chen's cultivation reached consummation as a sovereign personage. This was completely unexpected. Xiao Chen estimated that even in the faux god world, he would need to cultivate for 1 or 2 years before he could truly reach consummation. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen had just broken through to great perfection sovereign personage before he closed his eyes. When he opened his eyes, he reached consummation. Xiao Chen had an acquired divine body, a great desolate Aeon bloodline, and cultivated the purple thunder divine incantation. Along the way to sovereign personage, Xiao Chen had accumulated a lot of accumulations. Once he reached consummation, his strength would increase by leaps and bounds. Xiao Chen's expression did not change as he looked around again. Not to mention the others' expressions of wanting to swallow him up. Just by Yunfei, Xiaozun, and Mu Yunju, these 3 old acquaintances, would be more than enough to deal with. Although Xiao Chen did not understand what happened, since these 3 were here, there was no room for him to maneuver. When Xiaozun landed, he looked at Xiao Chen with some shock. The ice-fire divine origin. He must have refined the ice-fire divine origin. Where did the ice-fire divine origin go? Be honest, Fang Xiaobai shouted as he looked coldly at Xiao Chen. The murderous qi he exuded was somewhat terrifying. Mahamaya abstinence violation technique, Buddha in the mortal realm. However, before Fang Xiaobai finished speaking, a Buddhist swastika appeared on Xiao Chen's forehead, and a supreme killing Buddha descended from the sky. Bang! The instant the killing Buddha descended, it kicked up an overwhelming wave before it even attacked. The surging flame waves surged out in all directions. Immediately, the cultivators on the submerged reef had no choice but to dodge. Boom! When the killing Buddha made its move, the sea region turned completely chaotic. The surrounding cultivators were thrown into disarray. Xiao Chen took advantage of the chaos to stand up. As he hovered in the air, he turned his head to look at the lotus platform. After thinking for a while, he waved his right hand and placed the lotus platform in his storage ring. Divine firmament 9 changes, traceless lightning shadow. Leaving behind a faint purple mark, Xiao Chen leaped out of the encirclement and headed to the front. When everything calmed down, Fang Xiaobai and the others were in somewhat sorry state. They all showed rage on their faces. To think that this Xiao Chen dared to take the initiative to attack them. Xiao Chen was truly bold, seeking death for himself. Where is he? When everyone looked carefully, they discovered that Xiao Chen's figure had vanished. He was no longer where he had been. The expression of the hidden spirit temple's Yuan Zhen changed slightly. The lotus platform was gone. In reality, this group of hidden spirit temple disciples did not come for the ice-fire lotus platform but for the ice-fire lotus platform. However, now that the lotus platform was gone, they immediately felt flustered. He is there. He ran away. Someone shouted. When everyone looked back, they saw Xiao Chen quickly fleeing far away in the vast flame sea. After him. We absolutely cannot let him get away. If they let Xiao Chen escape from under their noses, they would be utterly embarrassed. If word of this got out, they would become a huge joke. Where is this place? Xiao Chen, who was quickly moving forward, frowned slightly. He did not get far in the vast flame sea, but he was startled. The flame sea did not differentiate between yin and yang. The extreme yin and extreme yang flowed without any pattern. There was no way to resist it. Xiao Chen quickly activated the alloy battle armor. Fortunately, the softened alloy battle armor had already recovered. With a thought, the 2-star alloy battle armor instantly covered Xiao Chen, blocking most of the heat wave. When the alloy battle armor covered his entire body, Xiao Chen released his bated breath. However, his expression remained grave. None of the large group of people behind him were easy to deal with. There were at least 10 half-step sovereign emperors. This was especially so for Fang Xiaobai and the others. Even though Xiao Chen's cultivation had improved significantly, he was not confident of victory. What exactly happened for this group of peak outstanding talents to gather here? Xiao Chen felt somewhat confused. He could not figure out what was going on. Furthermore, the people behind him were hot on his heels, so he did not have time to think. "Stay behind!" A loud shout came from behind Xiao Chen. It was Fang Xiaobai. He took the lead, chasing at the very front. Fang Xiaobai's shout contained the Tao. It sounded like spring thunder, resounding in Xiao Chen's ears. Half-step Sovereign Emperor. This was a half-step Sovereign Emperor. The Tao domain merged with the soul to form a divine seal. With one roar, the sound waves could invade the soul and linger endlessly. When Xiao Chen first met Mu Yunzhu on the comprehension platform, he suffered greatly at the other party's hands. However, Xiao Chen was no longer the same as before. Naturally, he would not suffer from the same method twice. The moment the other party's voice rang out, dragon roars erupted from Xiao Chen's body. A blue dragon circled him, and his hot-bloodedness surged. Roar, roar, roar. Dragon roars rang out everywhere, and the sound waves clashed in the vast flame sea. A loud explosion that was louder than the previous one set off a huge wave that shook the heavens. The sun and moon shining together, mysterious phenomenon instantly appeared, allowing the light of the sun and the moon to enter Xiao Chen's body. This series of moves was completed in an instant, allowing Xiao Chen to block the other party's sound waves from entering his soul. However, this delay delayed Xiao Chen for the blink of an eye. It was this blink of an eye that gave Fang Xiaobai an opportunity. Great Gale Force! Fang Xiaobai threw a palm strike. His Wind Dao domain had already reached the second layer. This palm strike brought out its full might. This palm strike sent the surrounding 500,000 kilometers of the flame sea flying like a castle, looking very horrifying. Then it shattered. The strong wind was like countless sharp blades slicing through it, extinguishing all the flames for 500,000 kilometers. Before Xiao Chen, who was in the middle of the flames, could react, he got knocked into the air along with the flames. The strong wind was like a knife, extinguishing the flames and blowing them away, exposing Xiao Chen in the air. Dang! 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 Countless strong winds struck the alloy battle armor, producing tinkling sounds. When the strong winds scattered, blood leaked out of a corner of Xiao Chen's lips. As Xiao Chen watched Fang Xiaobai arrive with the wind, the others chased closely behind him. With this delay, they would probably catch up. The Faux God realm is indeed a land of crouching tigers and hidden dragons, Xiao Chen said calmly as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. If not for the alloy battle armor blocking most of the power of that palm, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Kneel down and beg for mercy. Seeing that his killing move injured Xiao Chen, Fang Xiaobai shouted coldly and descended from the sky, sending another palm strike at Xiao Chen. When Xiao Chen saw this, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly and he couldn't help but reveal a cold smile. Did this fellow think that he had stopped because he no longer had a chance to retaliate? Such arrogance, it seems like this is all there is to it. In that case, I will take back my words. So-called geniuses were nothing more than this. Taiji was divided into yin and yang. Xiao Chen gently pushed his palms to the left and right, and the Taiji force field spread out. Yin and yang merged under his feet. A chaotic sea of fire instantly stabilized. Suddenly, the violent and chaotic sea of fire magically calmed down. As Fang Xiaobai charged over, his expression changed slightly. He felt that something was wrong. Why did it feel like someone was suppressing the energy of this sea of fire? Did you notice it? It's too late, explode. Xiao Chen roared, and the Taiji force field instantly exploded. The violent sea of fire that had been forcibly separated burst out with an even more violent momentum as Xiao Chen's palm struck. Chapter 2143. Xiao Chen used the Taiji Dao to forcefully suppress the primal chaos energy in the primal chaos flame sea. When Fang Xiaobai charged over, he released the force of his palm strike. The primal chaos flame sea, which had been suppressed for a long time, clashed with Feng Xiaobai's palm strike in an even more berserk manner. Poochie! Feng Xiaobai immediately vomited a mouthful of blood as he got knocked back. Cracks appeared in the Yin flame parrying pearl on his body. Without the fire-repelling pearl, it would be hard for him to keep his life in the chaos flame sea. So. Figures flickered and Buddhist light broke through the wave. It was a group of disciples from the hidden spirit temple. While they were fighting, they caught up. This group of monks all cultivated the indestructible Vajra body. Xiao Chen's physical body held a great advantage in this primal chaos flame sea. He unhurriedly followed after Feng Xiaobai. The group of monks had their palms clasped together. Buddhist light shone behind their heads, making them look holy and solemn. However, he didn't feel any pity for Xiao Chen. He chased after him and landed next to Xiao Chen. Without saying a word, he attacked. Every move was fierce and domineering, containing a great amount of strength. The fleshly body was as hard as a divine material. When Xiao Chen's fist light landed on his opponent's body, a crisp metallic sound rang out. In the boundless sea of fire, Xiao Chen fought and retreated without much fear. The 10,000 dragons picture appeared indistinctly behind Xiao Chen. He used the Supreme Dragon Fist to clash head-on with the Hidden Spirit Temple disciples. Dragon roars rang out, and countless dragon images leaped about in the sea of flames. From time to time, they would soar in the sky, and from time to time, they would dive to the bottom of the sea. The many Hidden Spirit Temple disciples linked their fist lights together, spreading out a Buddhist light. The 8 tribes Heaven Dragon, the Buddha preaching, the Bodhi discussing the Tao. All sorts of Buddhist phenomena appeared one after another. Although these people's cultivation techniques were varied, they all came from Buddhism. When they attacked together, the phenomenon of Buddhism linked together, as if a pure land of gods and Buddhas had appeared. However, Xiao Chen did not fall into a disadvantageous position under such pressure. He retreated as he fought, and he didn't panic in the slightest. Ouch! How can this person's physical body be stronger than ours? How could this be? Even at close range, you are still unable to instantly capture him? Although the expressions of the Hidden Spirit Temple disciples did not change, they were already complaining in their hearts. In close combat, the group of people fought one after another. Relying on the advantage of the indestructible Vajra body, they wanted to directly suppress Xiao Chen. But the result was the complete opposite. After exchanging a few punches, it was their bodies that couldn't take it anymore. Acquired divine body. A bright light flashed in the eyes of the Hidden Spirit Temple's Yuanzhen, who had not made a move all this while. Suddenly, he said, "Benefactor Xiao is really astonishing. To think that you managed to cultivate an acquired divine body. This is truly admirable. However, you're only one person in the end and won't be able to hold on for long. If you hand over the Ice and Fire Lotus platform, we'll stop here." Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows and smiled softly. "If not for me having some relationship with your Hidden Spirit Temple, I would not have been so polite long ago. As long as I am in this primal chaos flame sea, I will be undefeatable. No matter how many people there are, so what? I did not seek trouble for you, but you wanted my lotus platform." Yuanzhen felt slightly stunned. Naturally, he did not know about the matter between Xiao Chen and the little monk. However, Yuanzhen recognized the Buddha in the mortal realm that Xiao Chen executed earlier. This was the Buddhist sect forbidden technique, the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique. Yuanzhen could not help feeling suspicious. Could it be that he really has some relationship with my temple? "Stop!" Yuanzhen shouted. The many Hidden Spirit Temple disciples immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Upon hearing Yuanzhen's command, they all stopped and retreated. When Xiao Chen saw the situation, he also heaved a sigh of relief. This group of monks was a tough nut to crack. If this continued, Xiao Chen would not have it easy. In the end, he would have to take out the Buddhist sect's golden letter to stop this group of people. You are really decisive. Xiao Chen glanced at Yuan Zhen and praised him. Then, he immediately moved far away. Senior brother, why did you make a move? Are you just going to let him go? The group of hidden spirit temple disciples looked at Yuan Zhen in confusion, finding this strange. Yuan Zhen said after some thought, the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique that this person executed is called in the mortal realm. It happens to be something that our temple has. If there is no connection, it is impossible to learn this saber technique. He does have Buddha nature, so it is really difficult to judge his identity. I will go back and ask my master. Whoosh! A figure quickly flew by. Yuan Zhen took a look and saw that it was the profound Heaven Holy Land's Mu Yunju. He could not help but think that even if he let Rang go, it would not be easy for him to walk out of this vast sea of fire. Not long after Xiao Chen left, Mu Yunju caught up to him and gave chase. Although Fang Xiaobai's group was slower than Fang Xiaobai and Yuan Zhen's group, they did not suffer any interference. He immediately pushed his movement technique to the limit and finally caught up. Half a year ago, you refused my challenge. I thought you were a coward. Now it seems that you are really good at enduring. Mu Yunju said seriously as a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Based on the strength that Xiao Chen displayed, it was clear that he could hold his own against Mu Yunju. This person's mental state was very calm. No matter what the ice-fire divine origin was, Mu Yunju could not let Xiao Chen leave this vast sea of fire to avoid a future problem. Xiao Chen, it has been a long time. Just as Xiao Chen prepared to fight, two figures appeared behind him. Bai Yunfei and Xiao Hozun actually surrounded him from behind. When Xiao Chen saw these two familiar people, he could not help frowning slightly. Today's calamity came out of nowhere. Things really bode ill for him in this vast sea of fire. Xiao Chen glanced at Bai Yunfei, and a murderous intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. He said indifferently, "It has indeed been a long time. Back then, you nearly forced me into a corner in Cloud Water Marsh." At the mention of Cloud Water Marsh, Bai Yunfei could not help feeling angry. Back then, Xiao Chen turned around and scared him off. Bai Yunfei thought that he ran into a demonic Dao sovereign emperor. Now that he thought about it, it was simply a great humiliation. Humph! This time, let's see how you are going to play tricks on the vast sea of fire. Bai Yunfei held the bamboo flute in his hand. The scarlet orchid formed by the 3 scarlet marks on his forehead looked very alluring, but his expression was extremely cold. Xiao Hozun said indifferently, "Xiao Chen, it is time to settle the score between us at the Peach Blossom Wine Festival." Xiao Chen mocked. "The person who embarrassed you at the Peach Blossom Wine Festival was the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. What does that have to do with me? If you want to seek trouble for me, just say it. There is no need to make it sound so wronged." Mu Yunju, who was at the side, found this strange. He had not expected Bai Yunfei and Xiao Hozun to have such a grudge with Xiao Chen. These two were not people to be offended. One was the crown prince of the White Marsh Beast Empire, and the other was the crown prince of the Hound Lion Empire. They held noble statuses and illustrious statuses. Furthermore, their bloodlines were excellent. Their futures in the Bushan Palace were limitless. "How lively!" a figure said coldly as he slowly descended. It was Fang Xiaobai, who had repaired the Yinyang fire parting pearl. When Fang Xiaobai saw that the others were present, he said, "Everyone, be careful. This fellow has a strange cultivation technique that can suppress the primal chaos flame sea. By using the might of the primal chaos flame sea, even I nearly fell for his palm strike." The 4 experts surrounded Xiao Chen but did not make the first move. This was especially so for Fang Xiaobai. After he said that Xiao Chen grasped a special cultivation technique that could use the primal chaos flame sea, the 4 experts surrounded him. "Hand over the ice-fire divine origin. We can settle our grudges in the future." Bai Yunfei frowned slightly. With Mu Yunju and Fang Xiaobai around, he felt somewhat fearful. He could not kill Xiao Chen, lest others take advantage of him. Sorry, I do not know what the ice-fire divine origin is. However, even if I knew, given my character, I would not give it to you. Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows. He caught the lack of confidence in by Yunfei's words. He could not help smiling coldly. Even if you are not crown princes, you are still outstanding talents of your sections. Why is it that you do not dare to attack me at this moment? That's right. I still have not activated my great desolate Ian bloodline. Furthermore, I am wearing the alloy battle armor. If we fight to the death, who can guarantee that they will not die? Since you don't have the heart to die, then get out of my way. I won't rest until I kill whoever blocks my way in this boundless sea of fire. Xiao Chen shouted and his aura surged. With the alloy battle armor, his tyrannical aura appeared in full display. When Fang Xiaobai and the others heard that, their hearts skipped a beat. When they thought of the primal chaos flame sea, if Xiao Chen really targeted them and fought to the death, even if they killed Xiao Chen, they would end up dying in the flame sea. Xiao Chen laughed loudly and left, leaving the four looking at each other with awkward and conflicted expressions. Once a person became timid, it would be very difficult to muster their courage again. Before making a move, they would remember that this was the primal chaos flame sea. It was not easy to fight to the death with others here. Otherwise, even if they won, they would suffer severe injuries and fall in the flame sea. They would have 10,000 reasons to convince themselves not to make a move. Crown princes of empires and outstanding talents of sex are only SOSO. Ah! As the four remained silent, they heard laughter in the distance, echoing endlessly in the vast flame sea. Chapter 2144. Amid the vast flame sea, Xiao Chen's laughter reverberated in all directions. However, it sounded exceptionally piercing to the ears of Bai Yunfei and the other three. Their expressions turned extremely sullen. After him. Let's see if you still have the capital to be arrogant after we reach the shore. Fang Xiaobai snorted coldly. Then, he executed his movement technique and gave chase again in the flame sea. That was right. The reason why the group feared Xiao Chen was because they were in the flame sea. If they were not careful, they might end up dying together with Xiao Chen. Furthermore, the four did not trust each other and feared each other. Hence, they did not dare to attack Xiao Chen rashly. In reality, there was one more thing that the four were unwilling to admit. Be it by Yunfei, Fang Xiaobai, Mu Yunju, or Xiahozun, they all felt intimidated by Xiao Chen's aura. Xiao Chen's declaration that he would not rest until he killed anyone in the way intimidated them, not daring to make the first move against Xiao Chen. However, no one would admit this in their hearts. Seeing Fang Xiaobai give chase, the others quickly followed. They all radiated killing chi and showed sullen expressions. They wished that they could tear Xiao Chen to pieces on the spot to vent the unhappiness in their hearts. This Xiao Chen is really going to thoroughly offend the four of us. This way, this matter will probably spread in a few days, the Hidden Spirit Temple's Yuanzhen said sullenly with a slight frown. The Hidden Spirit Temple's Yuanzhen, who was in the rear of the flame sea, frowned slightly. Xiao Chen's laughter was very loud, spreading far and wide. Everyone within 50,000 kilometers could hear it. Apart from them, the other disciples who were chasing after them also heard it clearly. If I cannot confuse their minds, how can I shake off this group of people? Right after Yuanzhen spoke, a figure in the air spread open his arms like an immortal crane in the clouds and landed firmly beside the group. Xiao Chen. When the Hidden Spirit Temple's disciples clearly saw the person who arrived, they were greatly startled. Xiao Chen clearly headed for the shore. Why did he turn around in the blink of an eye? What's going on? You did it on purpose. Yuanzhen's thoughts raced as fast as lightning. Soon, he figured out the crux of the matter. Then, he enunciated every word as he looked at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and nodded. That's right. These 4 people are peak experts among half-step sovereign emperors. It would be hard for me to defeat any one of them, much less all 4 of them. I could temporarily intimidate them, but they weren't fools. They would quickly come to their senses. With the 4 of us working together, there was no need to be afraid of dying. When the time comes, they will still be able to catch up to me. If I don't humiliate them and make them angry and blindly chase after me, I won't be able to leave. Furthermore, their lives are valuable, and they are not willing to die with me. How is my life worthless? There is no need for me to risk my life against them. The 4 felt that their lives were valuable and did not want to risk their lives against Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's SSS. How laughable! The 4 of them still felt that their lives were precious and that there was no need to fight to the death with Xiao Chen. Benefactor Xiao, will you be able to explain your relationship with your temple in detail? Yuan Zhen asked softly as he looked at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen took out a brocade box and handed it to Yuan Zhen. After Yuan Zhen received it, he gave Xiao Chen a suspicious look. Xiao Chen took out a brocade box and handed it to Yuan Zhen. When Yuan Zhen received it, he gave Xiao Chen a suspicious look. You will know when you open it. Xiao Chen extended his hand and gestured for Yuan Zhen to open it. The moment the brocade box opened a crack, a piercing golden light shot out. When the brocade box completely opened, Yuan Zhen's expression changed. The expressions of the other hidden spirit temple disciples behind also changed drastically, looking at Xiao Chen in shock. The Buddhist sect's golden letter. That was a 1-page golden letter, the highest gift of the Buddhist sect. Only those who showed great kindness to the Buddhist sect could obtain it. When Xiao Chen saw the other party's expression, he smiled. Then, his figure flashed, and he quickly took the brocade box back before Yuan Zhen's stunned gaze. I only let you take a look and did not use this 1-page golden letter. Don't blame me for taking it away. Xiao Chen smiled faintly as he put away the golden letter. Yuan Zhen recovered his wits and started cultivating again. Earlier, he had indeed thought of taking back the golden letter so that he could think of a way to help his sect repay this favor. After all, it would be more worthwhile for him to repay this favor than for the other esteemed monks. Who knew? Xiao Chen seemed to have anticipated this. Before Yuan Zhen could react, the golden letter was snatched away. Just address me as Yuan Zhen. I am just a lay disciple. Benefactor Xiao, there is no need to be so polite. Yuan Zhen smiled and said, Benefactor Xiao is right. I only took a look and did not use it. Xiao Chen thought to himself, this Yuan Zhen is pretty good. Then, he said softly, now, do you believe my relationship with your sect? Yuan Zhen smiled and said, the Buddhist sect's golden letter already appeared. What else do I not believe? Now that the Buddhist sect's golden letter appeared, Xiao Chen took the opportunity to ask, what is the ice-fire divine origin? Yuan Zhen gave Xiao Chen a strange look. Benefactor Xiao, do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know? Xiao Chen said helplessly, I indeed do not know what the ice-fire divine origin is. I don't even know where it is right now. Seeing that Xiao Chen's expression was not fake, Yuan Zhen explained the ice-fire divine origins and where this place was to Xiao Chen. After Xiao Chen heard that, he revealed a contemplative expression. There were still some parts that he did not understand. The flame vein rushing Xiao Chen to the core of the ice-fire wasteland made sense. However, Xiao Chen could not understand why the ice-fire divine origin disappeared and why Xiao Chen appeared on the lotus platform. Then, Xiao Chen thought about his great improvement in cultivation, going from the initial peak to consummation peak. Xiao Chen guessed that he might have inadvertently refined and absorbed the ice-fire divine origin. He seemed to recall seeing many flickering spots of starlight at the bottom of the lake before he entered a meditative state. Perhaps it had something to do with this. However, there was no need to overthink this. After all, his cultivation had improved significantly. He had nurtured the universe origin true flame and the heavenly snow divine flame to rank 6. All this was real. What did the ice fire divine origin's disappearance have to do with Shao Chen? From the very start, he had never had any designs on the ice fire divine origin. Benefactor Shao, why did you appear on the ice fire lotus platform? What exactly did you experience? Yuan Zhen asked softly, curiosity flashing in his eyes. This question concerned the secret of Shao Chen comprehending all things rejoicing together. For now, Shao Chen could not tell others. He could only reply after some thought, it's a long story. If there is an opportunity in the future, I will explain to you. When Yuan Zhen heard that, he knew that this involved Shao Chen's secrets, so he did not pursue the matter. He nodded to indicate his understanding and smiled. That is not important. However, there is something important that I would like to discuss with Benefactor Shao. The Ice Fire Lotus platform? Yuan Zhen nodded and said, that's right. It looks like Benefactor Shao is a smart person. I would like to use my treasures to exchange for this lotus platform with Benefactor Shao. What miraculous uses does this lotus platform have? Shao Chen asked, feeling confused. It has boundless miraculous uses for people of my Buddhist sect. However, it is not very useful to outsiders, Yuan Zhen explained casually with a smile. Shao Chen thought to himself, this monk is really smart. He did not tell me what it is used for. Indeed, none of the people who rushed to this primal chaos flame sea were easy to deal with. Shao Chen's expression did not change. He smiled and said, I can be considered half a member of the Buddhist sect. Master Yuan Zhen, please explain it to me. Yuan Zhen nodded and said, since Benefactor Shao is half a member of the Buddhist sect, you should know that lotus platforms are very common Buddhist treasures in my Buddhist sect. Right. This ice fire lotus platform was born in this extreme environment. There are no signs of it being artificially modified, so it is known as an innate Buddhist treasure. In the entire martial epoch, only 3 places can give birth to this innate lotus platform. Such a lotus platform would be a rare item even in my hidden spirit temple. It would be even rarer in other temples. Yuan Zhen continued, nearly all esteemed monks and powerhouses require such an innate Buddhist treasure. Otherwise, it would not match their status. Hence, it is very rare for people of my Buddhist sect. While Yuan Zhen's words sounded reasonable, in reality, it was all nonsense. According to Yuan Zhen, this lotus platform was something that esteemed monks and powerhouses used to show off their status. Indeed, it had such a function. However, the true value of the ice fire lotus platform that Shao Chen obtained lay in its 360 lotus petals. In the past, the best ice fire lotus platform only had 180 lotus petals. He had never heard of one with 36 petals. A lotus platform born in the world was not used to show off one's status, but for comprehending Buddhist principles. Even those esteemed monks and powerhouses needed to comprehend some profound Buddhist principles. By using this innate Buddhist treasure, they would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Just think about it. Even esteemed monks and powerhouses had such an effect, what more ordinary people? When using this lotus platform to cultivate Buddhist sect cultivation techniques, it would also have wondrous effect. As for people cultivating other cultivation techniques, it would also be useful. It was not as Yuan Zhen said that it was useless to outsiders. More importantly, Shao Chen's Ice Fire Lotus platform was a peak-quality item among peak-quality items. No one knew if it had other wondrous effects. Of course, it did not make sense to say that Yuan Zhen was lying. Everything he said was true. He just did not focus on the main point. After hearing the other party's explanation, Shao Chen said, "It looks like it is indeed useless to me. I can reconsider the exchange." In that case, would Benefactor Shao like to take a look at my collection? I believe there will be something that Benefactor Shao will be satisfied with. Seeing the other party so anxious, Shao Chen smiled in his heart. This monk was not telling him the truth. He said softly, "Sure. Let's talk as we walk." Chapter 2145. With this group of hidden spirit temples people as bodyguards, the return journey could be said to be very peaceful. There were many crafty and sinister foe beasts in the mysterious ice forest. However, there was no need for Xiao Chen to make a move. Along the way, Yuan Zhen appeared very enthusiastic, feeling that he would be able to obtain the Ice Fire Lotus platform. Yuan Zhen rejoiced in his heart, but he did not show it. Instead, he chatted happily with Xiao Chen. As Yuan Zhen spoke, his impression of Xiao Chen changed significantly. This Xiao Chen had a unique understanding of Buddhism. Xiao Chen did not seem like an outsider who only knew a little about the Buddhist sect. He believed that a monk should not care about the mundane world, living in peace and few desires. Yuan Zhen's many insights were refreshing to Yuan Zhen. Given this, Yuan Zhen was no longer in a rush. Since Yuan Zhen was not in a rush, Xiao Chen was even less in a rush. While the two were not in a rush, Fang Xiaobai and the other three were so anxious that rage filled their hearts. The four chased frantically all the way to the Holy Domain's divine capital, but they did not see Xiao Chen's figure. How can it be like this? Fang Xiaobai felt confused. The four of them were half-step sovereign emperors with deep and unfathomable cultivations. Compared to Xiao Chen, their cultivations were much higher. Even if Xiao Chen managed to escape the Sea of Fire first, they should not have been unable to see his figure. Xiao Chen had formed his divine seal and merged his Tao domain with his soul. His soul energy was several times stronger than that of a heaven-defying sovereign personage. The distance that he could explore far surpassed that of Xiao Chen. However, along the way, they did not see Xiao Chen's figure at all. It looks like he has a secret treasure that can teleport people in the Holy Domain. Damn it! Teleporting in the faux god world was extremely dangerous. Space-time flowed in reverse, and one might get disturbed if one was not careful. Although it was dangerous, it did not mean that it was not possible. One could exchange for such secret treasures with faux god coins in the 100 Treasure Pavilion. However, the price was high and the quality-price ratio was low. Most people rarely exchanged for them. After thinking about it, this was the only possibility. Otherwise, Xiao Chen would not have disappeared from their sight for no reason. What should we do now? Mu Yunju asked seriously as he looked at the other three. Fang Xiaobai paced in front of the Holy Domain's divine capital, thinking to himself. After a while, he said, "Now that we have reached the Holy Domain's divine capital, there is no chance of taking his life anymore. I wonder what happened to the Ice-Fire Divine Origin. No matter how I think about it, I'm still full of anger. Now I really can't do anything to him." Aside from some special places in the Holy Domain's divine capital where people could spar, fighting was prohibited elsewhere. Unless both parties were willing, even if they could fight, it was impossible to kill anyone in the Holy Region's divine capital. This was the Saint Domain's prohibition. If something were to happen, even the superpowers behind them wouldn't be able to protect them. The few of them were in a terrible predicament. They couldn't swallow this anger in their hearts, but there was nothing they could do. He heard anxious shouts coming from afar. Turning his head, he saw that it was his junior brother following him. "Senior brother, senior brother." When Fang Xiaobai saw his junior brothers flustered and extremely anxious, he frowned and asked, "What's going on? Why are you all so flustered?" After one of them rested, he said in a deep voice, "Senior brother Fang, that Xiao Chen hasn't gone far. He's still behind." "What?" The expressions of Fang Xiaobai and the other three changed drastically. This was truly shocking. They were in disbelief. "That's impossible. The four of us chased all the way. How could we let him slip behind us under our noses?" Mu Yunju said resolutely, refusing to believe it. Bai Yunfei said coldly, "Since he is behind us, with so many of you, could it be that you cannot capture him alone?" The Bushan Palace disciple said with some grievance, "Senior brother Bai, He was with the Hidden Spirit Temples group. They left together from the Primal Chaos Flame Sea. They were chatting and laughing, and their relationship was very good. We did not dare to make a move. Bai Yunfei and the other three were intelligent people. The moment they heard this, their complexions immediately turned ashen. We got fooled. Back then, Xiao Chen had purposely mocked them, wanting to infuriate the four into chasing blindly out of humiliation. However, at this moment, the four sneaked behind them and met up with the Hidden Spirit Temples group. The Crown Prince of an empire, an outstanding talent of a sect, is only SOSO. Now that they thought about it, these words were incredibly ear-piercing, making them blush in embarrassment. The group of junior brothers did not dare to say anything, lest they say something that would anger these four. Damn it! Damn it! To think that this Xiao Chen played us like monkeys! Bai Yunfei's handsome face turned completely black at this moment, filled with indescribable rage. He had already been fooled by Xiao Chen once in Cloud Water Marsh and the Desolate Sea. Even so, Bai Yunfei respectfully addressed him as senior. That was already a great humiliation. This time, he was fooled again. As the saying goes, it's impossible for a person to make the same mistake twice. But Bai Yunfei had been fooled twice in the past. The first time, he was fooled into addressing Xiao Chen as senior. This time, he was even more embarrassed. Not only was he fooled, but he was even mocked in public. How could Bai Yunfei endure this? The other three showed extremely unsightly expressions, no less than Bai Yunfei's. They were so frustrated that they nearly vomited blood. However, they could not think of a good solution. Senior brother, they are here. One of them pointed to the back. Then, they saw Xiao Chen descending from the sky with the Hidden Spirit Temples group, slowly landing in the Holy Domain's divine capital. Xiao Chen chatted happily with Yuan Zhen. I will definitely kill him. The 3 scarlet marks on Bai Yunfei's forehead formed a beautiful orchid that looked like it would ooze blood. Such a scene startled the other people from the Bushan Palace. They quickly pulled Bai Yunfei back. Senior brother, calm down. This is the Holy Domain's divine capital. We cannot attack here. There are people watching us from the city walls. Indeed. Senior brother, it is not worth it for this person. The others feared that Bai Yunfei would act rashly in his anger. If he failed to kill Xiao Chen, he would end up in the Holy Domain's heavenly prison. If that happened, he would be completely ruined. That would be exactly what Xiao Chen wanted. Ah! Yuan Zhen, brother Bai wants to kill me. As a member of the Buddhist sect, you should advise him to rein in his murderous heart. Being so easily angered is not good for his body. When Xiao Chen walked over and saw Bai Yunfei's flustered and exasperated appearance, he laughed without any fear. Yuan Zhen stepped forward and pressed his palms together. May the Buddha bless you. Benefactor Bai, why bother? Since you are already in the Holy Domain's divine capital, don't cling to your murderous heart. Buddha is merciful. Benefactor Bai, please calm down. Don't be anxious, don't be impatient. Don't have a murderous heart. Otherwise, it will be hard to dispel your heart demon. You will soon face a bloody calamity. Pu Si. To think that this bald donkey Yuan Zhen actually recited his Dharma name. Bai Yunfei immediately cursed in his heart. However, when the words reached Bai Yunfei's mouth, he could not spit them out. Anger overwhelmed him, and he could not help vomiting a mouthful of blood. His complexion instantly paled, and he looked extremely dispirited. The combination of Bai Yunfei's handsome face and his pale complexion made one's heart ache. Senior brother, when the Bushan Palace's disciples from the White Marsh Beast Empire saw this scene, they immediately felt anxious. At the same time, they were startled and horrified. This repulsive monk said that senior brother would face a bloody calamity. To think that it really came true. When Fang Xiaobai and the other two saw this scene, they could not help being startled. They quickly calmed down, no longer getting angry. It looked like this monk was really on the same side as Xiao Chen. Bai Yunfei did not know what he had experienced to hate Xiao Chen to such an extent. After Mu Yunzhu calmed down, he looked at Xiao Chen and Yuan Zhen. Then, he said, I found it strange that the ice-fire divine origin disappeared for no reason this time. It looks like your hidden spirit temple did something. Fang Xiaobai's expression turned cold as a murderous intent flashed on his face. It looks like the two sides are working together, each taking what they need. One is seeking the ice-fire divine origin, and the other is seeking the ice-fire lotus platform. We were really miserably tricked. What a good scheme. This Fang admires it. Yuan Zhen immediately felt somewhat anxious. He explained, You really maligned me. The mystery of the ice-fire divine origin's disappearance has nothing to do with the hidden spirit temple. Xiao Hozun retorted indifferently, There is no need for you to explain whether it is related or not. Even now you are still treating us like fools. Do you think that we are really stupid? The mountains will not change, and the rivers will flow forever. Sooner or later, we will settle this debt with your hidden spirit temple. After giving Yuan Zhen a cold look, Xiao Hozun shifted his gaze to Xiao Chen. Then, he turned and left without saying a word. Yuan Zhen's expression already turned somewhat unsightly. He felt helpless in his heart. You are really stupid as a pig. After speaking nonsense, you thought that you understood everything. You even want to settle this debt with the hidden spirit temple. There is no way to communicate with you. Mu Yunzhu and the others left one after another, feeling very vexed. They did not want to remain here for another second. Every time they saw Xiao Chen, they would feel angry. If they could not hold back, they would end up like Bai Yunfei. Mu Yunzhu felt so frustrated that he vomited blood and fainted. After the group of people left, Yuan Zhen looked at Xiao Chen and asked, Benefactor Xiao, what do you think? Are you willing to trade the ice-fire lotus platform? Xiao Chen nodded and replied, I have considered it very clearly. This ice-fire lotus platform is very important to the Buddhist sect. I intend to personally visit and present it to your honored temple for free. Yuan Zhen immediately felt stunned. Then, he smiled helplessly and said, Benefactor Xiao is really considerate. I will represent the hidden spirit temple in thanking you in advance. You are too polite. I'll take my leave first. Xiao Chen performed a cupped fist salute and left, vanishing from the group's vision. Senior brother, he is tricking us. He said that he is giving it to us, but he did not add a time limit. If he were to give it to us 10 years or 100 years later, we would not be able to reason with him. As Yuan Zhen looked at Xiao Chen's departing figure, he seemed very open-minded. He smiled and said, How could I not know? He is such an intelligent person. How could he hand over the ice-fire lotus platform just because of some words from me? It is within my expectations. Let's go. This person has a deep friendship with our temple's little ancestor. Remember to treat him politely whenever you see him. Little ancestor. The hidden spirit temple had many old ancestors, but there was only one little ancestor. That was an existence that even the abbot had to avoid, an existence that could not be offended. Upon hearing Yuan Zhen's words, the other hidden spirit temple disciples all trembled, feeling that it had been a close call. No wonder this Xiao Chen could fool them. How could someone who had a deep friendship with the little ancestor and did not die be someone to offend? That was not right. It was not a question of whether Xiao Chen should be offended or not. It was as senior brother Yuan Zhen said. Xiao Chen absolutely could not be offended. As everyone looked at Xiao Chen, they felt that his back seemed much taller. Chapter 2146. Once he entered the Holy Domain's divine capital, he would be completely safe. When Xiao Chen returned to his own courtyard, he heaved a sigh of relief. It was really a narrow escape from death this time. He had only wanted to kill some mastiffs in the periphery, but someone had set up a trap and he had nearly died to the mastiff. Xiao Chen only wanted to nurture the heavenly snow divine flame and the universe origin true flame. However, the moment he opened his eyes, the leaders of the 4 super factions targeted him. Fortunately, there was no danger, and the harvest was not bad. Now that Xiao Chen's cultivation reached peak consummation, he could be considered officially a heaven-defying sovereign personage. As a sovereign personage, one's veritable essence, energy, and soul energy had already been cultivated to their limit. There was no more room for improvement. Nurturing the universe origin true flame and the heavenly snow divine flame was part of the plan. His cultivation was a pleasant surprise. Normally, it would take at least a year or 2 of hard work to reach the peak. This was because the faux god world had an extremely dense environment in the first place. Furthermore, there were all sorts of resources that could be exchanged for with faux god coins. The next direction of cultivation was to condense divine seals. After forming the divine seal, the might of Xiao Chen's soul energy and Dao domain would reach a whole new level. At that time, even if Feng Xiaobai and the others worked together, Xiao Chen would not fear them. In the primal chaos flame sea, Xiao Chen had to use a scheme to trick these 4 people away. This was because the 4 were peak experts among half-step sovereign emperors. With the support of their divine seals, they were able to survive. Martial techniques and cultivation techniques could bring out a might far surpassing that of a heaven-defying sovereign personage. It would be fine if 1 person worked together. However, if 4 worked together, Xiao Chen would not stand a chance of victory. Forming a divine seal was the first step to breaking through to the sovereign emperor realm. It was crucial to the sovereign emperor realm. Divine seals were divided into different levels. The more Dao domains that fused with the soul, the stronger the divine seal. The attributes of the Dao domain would also affect the divine seal. For example, the divine seal formed by the Death Dao domain was stronger than the divine seal formed by the Thunder Dao domain. Of course, it would be much more difficult. Right now, Xiao Chen only grasped 1 Dao domain, the Saber Dao and the Ice Dao. He had yet to break through to the Dao domain. As for reincarnation, he was still stuck at the level of will. He had yet to grasp the Dao of reincarnation. If he had a choice, Xiao Chen would naturally choose to merge the Cycle Dao domain with his soul and form a divine seal. However, this was clearly unrealistic. The will of Cycle was too difficult to cultivate. While Xiao Chen was confident of grasping the Cycle Dao, he did not know if he could break through to the Dao domain. This was because the reincarnation Dao was too powerful. It had already surpassed time and space. It was an ability that even faux gods would find difficult to grasp. Putting aside the Samsara Dao for now, Xiao Chen was not someone who was willing to be mediocre. He would definitely not just fuse a single Dao domain with his soul. If Xiao Chen could not break through to the Dao domain in his Ice Dao and Saber Dao, he definitely would not form a divine seal. Next, I'll focus my cultivation on comprehending the Saber Dao and the Ice Dao. Xiao Chen revealed a contemplative expression. It seemed that because he had merged with the Ice-Fire divine origin, he felt that his Ice Dao could break through to the Dao domain at any time. On the other hand, Xiao Chen's specialty, the Saber Dao, was forever separated from the Dao domain by a thin layer of fog. It felt very close yet very far. He had once lost some things, and it was extremely difficult to find them again. Oh right, I have not looked at my Ice-Fire Lotus platform in detail yet. Xiao Chen had nearly forgotten about one of his greatest gains on this trip. With a thought, the Ice-Fire Lotus platform flew out of his storage ring. The Lotus platform consisted of a total of 360 lotus leaves. It had a natural Dao and spiritual energy. With one look, one could tell that it was extraordinary. As Xiao Chen looked at the Lotus platform floating in the air, he entered deep thought. I probably won't be able to make out anything from just looking at it. I don't know much about the Ice-Fire Lotus platform either. I have to ask someone. Let's go to the 100 Treasure Pavilion. The 100 Treasure Pavilion was a place where one could exchange faux god coins for treasures. There were excellent appraisers there. They could appraise any treasure. Of course, that was on the premise that one had sufficient faux god coins. After a while, Xiao Chen arrived at the 100 Treasure Pavilion's appraisal area. This item does not need any special appraisal. Give me 500 faux god coins, and I can tell you its origins and uses. The appraiser was an old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion. His cultivation was unfathomable. He gave a price with one look. Xiao Chen still had some faux god coins on hand, so he happily handed over 500 faux god coins and waited for the appraiser's answer. This is the Ice-Fire Lotus Platform, born in the Ice-Fire continent. The Ice-Fire Lotus Platform has always been favored by the Buddhist sect's esteemed monk. Its greatest use is comprehending the Tao. Even the esteemed monks of the Buddhist sect can use this item to help them comprehend Buddhist principles. When Xiao Chen heard that, he felt excited. Indeed, Yuan Zhen had kept a trick up his sleeve. How was this a lotus platform that esteemed monks used to show off their status? It was clearly a priceless treasure. For others, they can use this lotus platform to comprehend the Tao, martial techniques, and some mysteries. It can allow them to achieve twice the results with half the effort. It is similar to the faux god prayer mats in the comprehension platform. However, as it is naturally formed, it is even better. The appraiser continued, if this item is forged using a Buddhist sect secret technique, it can be refined into a soul tool that can be used to ward off lightning and undergo tribulations. The most important thing is that your Ice-Fire Lotus platform has a total of 368 lotus petals. The highest quality lotus platform that appeared in the Ice-Fire Wasteland only has 160 petals. Its value is simply inestimable. I nearly got cheated. Xiao Chen thought to himself, I got lucky. Had I listened to Yuan Zhen, I would have cried myself to death. Xiao Chen suppressed his excitement and asked, do I need a Buddhist sect secret technique to forge it? Can the faux god world refine it? No. The appraiser shook his head. Then, he looked at Xiao Chen and gave a negative answer. Then, he added, you are a member of the Heavenly Alliance. Perhaps the Heavenly Alliance can think of something after you go out. After all, the Heavenly Alliance gathers all the Grandmaster blacksmiths in the world. It might be possible. Many thanks. This gave Xiao Chen some hope that he could think of something after he went out. The old man was very responsible. After saying that, he explained the many uses of the Ice-Fire Lotus platform to Xiao Chen. The old man even explained its origins in detail, including the strong secret treasures forged using it in history. This made Xiao Chen feel that the 500 faux god coins were worth it. After receiving the Ice-Fire Lotus platform, he thanked the old man again. Young Master Xiao, you are too polite. This is just this old man's duty, the old man said with a smile, feeling satisfied with Xiao Chen's politeness. Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows and asked, feeling curious, Senior, you know me? Naturally. You broke the 1,000-year record for the Trial Tower's first floor, and you broke the third floor's highest difficulty in history. How can I not know you? I remember that many faux god bladesmen wanted to take you as a disciple back then. However, Senior Shimu stopped them, the appraiser said casually with a nod. The appraiser nodded slightly as he spoke casually. However, his words shocked Xiao Chen. What? Back then, many faux god bladesmen wanted to take me as a disciple, but this Senior Shimu stopped them? Xiao Chen did not feel surprised when he heard that. Back then, he only thought that he was not too outstanding and did not overthink it. Unexpectedly, there was such a secret which flabbergasted him. Is this true? Of course. How can I speak carelessly about such a thing? Xiao Chen did not say anything more. He performed a cupped fist salute and took his leave. When he walked out of the 100 Treasure Pavilion, he felt somewhat confused. Why did Senior Shimu do this? Is it because I defeated his statue, so he hates me? That's not right. If he hates me out of jealousy, he would not have given me the painting and let me obtain the fiendish saber inheritance. Ha, the thoughts of that old senior are really unfathomable. Xiao Chen sighed and stopped thinking. Then, he returned to the courtyard and took out the second painting that Lu Benwei once gave him. The style of the second painting was different from the first one. It was very realistic. It was a picture of a lake with ripples on the surface of the lake. A drop of water slowly fell from the sky. Aside from that, there was nothing else. Compared to the first painting, this second painting was even simpler and more ordinary, even harder to understand. However, Xiao Chen comprehended all things rejoicing together from the first painting. This second painting definitely had its mysteries. Now that Xiao Chen's saber Dao had reached a bottleneck, he placed most of his hopes of breaking through the bottleneck of the Dao domain on this second painting. Perhaps it would be better for me to sit on the lotus platform and comprehend it. As he thought this, Xiao Chen took out the ice-fire lotus platform and sat down cross-legged. Xiao Chen immediately sensed a profound and incomprehensible feeling coming from the lotus platform, filling his entire body. It was just like when he comprehended at the bottom of the lake. Xiao Chen now understood. It turned out that he was already sitting on the vague form of the lotus platform at that time. Let's not care about that for now. Let's see what exactly is so profound about this painting. Chapter 2147. In the Void God realm, in a place where clouds and mist lingered, a group of mountains could be faintly seen. The majestic mountain range was like a coiled dragon soaring through the clouds. The mountain peak was like a blade, piercing through the sky, standing proudly. This was where fiendish saber Shi Mu cultivated in seclusion in the faux god world. Whoosh! An air-piercing sound rang out, and a figure shuttled through the clouds like a celestial being. His posture was agile and his temperament was extraordinary. It was Lu Benwei, one of fiendish saber Shi Mu's nominal disciples. At the peak of the mountain range, in the depths of the endless clouds and mist, there was a mountain peak that stood upside down. Countless vines wrapped around it, giving it an ancient and boundless feeling. Lu Benwei flew all the way, and when he arrived, he slowly landed. There were many ancient buildings on the inverted platform. Lu Benwei walked toward one of them. His master, fiendish saber Shi Mu, was waiting for him. Strange, why did master suddenly summon me here? Lu Benwei thought to himself, feeling a little puzzled. Generally speaking, his master rarely summoned him without saying anything. If he had any instructions, he would definitely inform him in advance so that he could make preparations. Lu Benwei felt some doubt when he saw fiendish saber Shi Mu. After bowing respectfully, he said, "Greetings, master. I wonder, why did master summon this disciple?" Fiendish saber Shi Mu had a head full of white hair, and wrinkles covered his old face. Only his eyes remained frighteningly sharp. "It's nothing. Let me ask you, did Xiao Chen look for you?" Lu Benwei was stunned when he heard this, but he still answered truthfully, "Master, Xiao Chen hasn't looked for me for more than a year. He hasn't contacted me at all." Fiendish saber Shi Mu could not help feeling stunned. He stroked his beard and muttered, "That shouldn't be the case. Could it be that he couldn't see through the mysteries of the painting?" He didn't have any doubts at all. With his talent, he should be able to see the abnormality. Shi Mu did not think that Xiao Chen could comprehend the mysteries of the painting so quickly. However, he should be able to tell that the painting was extraordinary. According to his conjecture, since he could see the abnormality but didn't know much about it, he should seek Lu Benwei's advice. However, it had been more than a year since he had contacted Lu Benwei. Shi Mu felt confused. Strange, did I make a mistake? He really couldn't see through the mysteries of the painting. Couldn't he guess what kind of opportunity was contained in the painting? If he had known about the inheritance represented by the fortuitous encounter in the painting, how could he not be tempted? If it were anyone else, he would have long sought out Lu Benwei. After some thought, he felt that this was not a bad idea. This means that this brat cannot compare to my younger self. It was just a coincidence that he defeated my statue in the trial tower. With this thought, fiendish Saber Shimu smiled and said, "Go and bring him over. Say that I want to meet him." Lu Benwei could not help but ask in surprise, "Master, what are you doing?" Fiendish Saber Shimu smiled and said, "This fellow is pretty good. I want to take him in as a nominal disciple and give him some pointers." Lu Benwei was speechless. He didn't understand what his master's logic was, but since it was an order, he just had to follow it. Yes, this disciple will obey master's orders. In the holy domain's divine capital, Shao Chen sat cross-legged. He had been comprehending the Tao on the ice-fire lotus platform for more than half a month. In his eyes, the painting in front of him was no longer the same as what he had seen in the past. Shao Chen's vision was now focused on the lake in the painting, on the droplet of water falling from the air. The droplet of water and the lake. One was insignificant, the other vast. One was nimble, and the other was calm. The scene looked peaceful, a droplet of water and a lake. In reality, there were surging undercurrents, clashing with one another. In Shao Chen's eyes, this droplet was like a powerful bladesman showing off his sharpness. It was a powerful bladesman with lofty ambitions, carrying the courage to die as it fell from the sky. This droplet of water had lofty ambitions. This droplet of water wanted to challenge a lake. Pa! The scene continued to change. Shao Chen felt like he was in the painting, seeing nothing but emptiness. Rain was about to fall from the sky. Thunder rumbled, and thousands of droplets of water fell from the sky. However, a droplet of water gathered in the sky, unmoved. It allowed the other droplets of water to come and go, leaving them to fate as they fell from the sky. This droplet of water remained unmoved. This was a lonely droplet of water, and also a proud droplet of water. Whoosh! The rainwater on the ground gathered into countless tributaries, slowly forming a lake in front of Shao Chen. The surface of the lake widened. However, that droplet of water continued to hang high in the sky, unmoved. The heavens were enraged. The thunderclouds scattered, and the blazing sun hung high in the sky, punishing on behalf of the heavens, using the power of the sun to scatter this droplet of water. However, something strange happened. When this droplet of water shone on it, it glistened like crystal. The hotter the sunlight, the more resplendent it was, the more dazzling this droplet of water became. This droplet of water was so proud. The sun set and the sun rose. This blazing sun roasted this droplet of water for 3,333 years. However, this droplet of water remained as proud as before, not changing its past. The heavens were enraged. Then, the heavens used thousands of lightning bolts to strike it, wanting to completely destroy it. Another 3,333 years passed. This droplet of water did not change its past, remaining as proud as before. The heavens raged and used strong winds to torture it for 3,333 years. The blazing sun, strong winds, and lightning tormented it for a total of 9,999 years. However, this droplet of water remained as proud as before. For 9,999 years, the lightning, strong winds, and intense flames could not change its past. It only made it shine even more resplendent, washing away all the impurities on its body. It became crystalline and pure, as beautiful as a demon. What is a demon? Someone as lonely as me, hanging high in the 9 heavens for 10,000 years, existing alone. What is a demon? Someone as proud as me, not fearing the heavenly might. Just like that, Shao Chen watched this droplet of water for 9,999 years, watching this droplet of water hang high in the sky, not changing its past. The scene suddenly changed. Shao Chen retreated and saw this droplet of water continue falling. Pa! When this droplet of water landed on the lake, the vast lake instantly exploded. The sky also shattered at this moment. This droplet of water expelled all of the lake's water. The droplet of water pierced through the lake and exploded the boundless lake water. No matter how much water there was in the lake, It could not contain the heart of this droplet of water. Boom! Xiao Chen felt shock. In the next moment, he startled awake. Xiao Chen's entire body was drenched in sweat, as if he had had a very long dream. Then, he looked at the painting floating in front of him. The scene in the painting still had not changed. It was still a droplet of water slowly falling, and the lake remained calm and peaceful. Xiao Chen leaped down and put away the ice-fire lotus platform. Then, he opened the painting in his hand and carefully looked at it, entering deep thought. Even a droplet of water can become a demon. The blazing sun, strong winds, and lightning cannot destroy it. It only adds to its elegance, making it look even more demonic. Not going with the flow, not following the will of heaven, not respecting the heavenly might. A droplet of water shatters the sky. Xiao Chen entered deep thought. The inheritance contained in this painting was simply incredible. Fiendish Saber Shimu's nominal disciple, Lu Benwei, comes to seek an audience with the heavenly alliances, Xiao Chen. Just as Xiao Chen was deep in thought, Lu Benwei's voice rang out in the courtyard. Xiao Chen muttered, "What is he doing here? Is he here to give me the third painting?" After putting away the painting, Xiao Chen went out to receive Lu Benwei. Then, he performed a cupped fist salute and said, "Greetings, big brother Lu." Lu Benwei gave Xiao Chen a strange look. "You look very pale. Did something go wrong with your cultivation?" Xiao Chen knew that he had exhausted too much of his mind while comprehending the second painting. So, he wanted to tell the truth and ask for guidance. Lu Benwei asked, "Do you need to rest? My master would like to meet you." "Fiendish Saber Shimu wants to meet me? Alright, I want to meet him as well." Xiao Chen was very curious about what kind of existence this fiendish Saber Shimu was. Why did Shimu reject all the other foe gods who wanted to take him in as a disciple and refuse to take him in as a disciple? Also, why did Shimu give him the fiendish saber painting? "There's no need. We can leave now. Big brother Lu, please lead the way." Xiao Chen immediately answered without hesitation. "Come with me, then." Lu Benwei nodded slightly and sized up Xiao Chen. He also wondered why his master suddenly wanted to take Xiao Chen in as a nominal disciple. The two were filled with questions as they rushed to where fiendish saber Shimu cultivated.